This is the moment of the pressure.
Yo.
It's motion. And the fresh dark.
You just checked? Perfect. Doing a freaking sleep study, so Def ready for some relaxing stream. Sleep study, uh-oh. Can you do that from home now, I hear? See if you got the snores. The snores and bores. This is one of my favorite streams ever, and I'm from Pennsylvania. Keep up the great work. Let's go. Fellow Pennsyltuckians. How goes it? Guys, welcome to the stream. We got bonus content. I think this is the first time in a while I've recorded some bonus content in back-to-back months on time. It's been exactly a month since the last one, which means tomorrow's video for Monday is going to be a compilation, but the bonus content will come out for members of the channel as well as the $5 tier on Patreon. There's also the $1 tier for early access and the $10 tier for the movie review podcast, which the next one we're going to do is Obsession. Who knows, maybe we'll do a double feature if my fellow reviewers have watched Backrooms. Maybe we'll talk about that one too. Have you guys seen Backrooms? Anybody see it? The backshot rooms. You watched Obsession, you thought it was bad. Yeah, what were your thoughts on it that made you think it was not good? Just out of curiosity. Glad we finally got some nice weather out here where I'm at near Lake Erie, and it's been cold as heck. Yeah, what is the weather like out near Lake Erie? I imagine it's like you get that lake effect where it's just constant. Well, is it snowy? I don't even know. Very good movie Backrooms. Yeah, it was it's definitely started out pretty strong, I would say. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but it definitely had a very strong first half. Anybody else see anything else here? According to my astrology guidebook, Geminis born June 4th, 1990 have a high likelihood of reading stories. Believe in astrology now? Do you, please, narrator, please tell me you made that up. Let's check that. Hold on a second. Are there any astrology books that say people born June 4th, 1990 are prone to reading stories? Oh, you're full of crap. All right, now it's gonna look at me like I'm nuts and give me a bunch of astrology ads later on. Yeah, it snows here. It snows here, although before 2024 we've had some pretty decent winters where it's not been that bad, except for the past 2 years it's been not my favorite. Oh, damn. Have you watched the meteorite news? Do you think it's related to UFO, UAPs, footage, the video government release? They released more this week. I don't know. What's the news for the meteorites? Now we gotta look it up. Not that I could find word for word. I don't see any astrology book source saying June 4th is specifically prone to reading stories. But there are adjacent claims that line up weirdly well. June 4th birthday astrology sources describe June 4 Geminis as having quick minds, language ability, communication skills, and attention-grabbing speech. The secret language of birthdays labels June 4th as the day of critical expertise, and summaries of that entry say June 4th people have quick minds and facility with language. Other June 4th profiles say people born that day combine discipline with artistry, having a sparkling personality, and may succeed through communication, charm, or convincing others. Whoa. For the broader sign, Gemini is traditionally ruled by Mercury, the planet associated with communication, language, learning, and verbal expression. Some astrology sources even describe the writer as a Gemini archetype. Oh shit, maybe I gotta get into writing. June 4th Glazers, yeah. So the honest answer is no. But sort of. Long time no see. It's been so long since I caught up. Well, welcome, Miss Bunny. Good to see you. Why is everything about money? Well, money is just what moves people, right? Money is energy. Money is the driving factor. I mean, it's the only thing that really does anything in the world. Obviously not all stuff, but basically most of operating society agrees that money is what gets them to let you on that boat. Money is the thing that lets you into a school. Money is the thing that feeds you. Money is, you know what I mean? Money is money. And it's the interesting piece of magic in this world that we're all pretty in agreement upon. Dying through upper body gear. What's that? What's your favorite setting for a story? Setting? Oh man, I do really like the Lovecraftian stuff, which is what we're going to read tonight for the bonus content. This is called the Miskatonic Lectures, and it's going to be Sam writing and Ollie A. White writing some interesting stories told through the form of lecture. So it should be an interesting approach we have here. But I really do enjoy that turn of the century sort of metaphysical concepts. Oh man. They sugarcoated the fact that she was possessed, the constant buildup of music that sudden stops, the vulgar poem, also the fact that intimacy was not consensual. She wasn't in right frame of mind. Okay, wait, okay, so I can understand you sugarcoat the fact that she was possessed. I don't really know if they sugarcoat it. I mean, I'm pretty sure they give the origins to that willow, right? And then the constant buildup of music. I mean, I could see that being a subjective frustration. The vulgar poem, I mean, the entire movie was vulgar, right? The guy, you know, so it's a horror movie, so that's kind of anticipated. The fact that intimacy was not consensual, that's horror too, right? You know, so I mean, she was not right in frame of mind. So I don't really know. I mean, I guess if it made you feel uncomfortable that way, then it probably succeeded as a horror movie, I would say. Because, I mean, the whole point of horror is to make you, like, see the terrifying aspects of reality. That sounds like the Obsession movie was released today. No, it was released probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Seemingly pretty successful. I just convinced my mom to send you some of her stories. She got some juicy ones. Let's go. Let's read submissions at gmail.com. Are you going to do a birthday stream this year? Yeah, I think so, AA Ron. We're going to do June 3rd, which is Wednesday, going into the next day. A drunk stream. I don't think so. I'm pretty done with drinking, I think. I mean, I'll have a beer here and there at, like, in a casual setting. I had a big old Modelo for dinner the other night. And honestly, I realized in life the only time that alcohol really feels good is just that first drink. Maybe first or second. Maybe first or 16th drink is only when it feels good. Just kidding. Once you get to a certain point where you're just like a sloppy dipshit, you know what I mean? It's just kind of sad. I guess unless you're like a newly 21-year-old or something. Get an angel shot for your birthday? What's an angel shot? You had a whole bottle of wine last night. Good God. That sounds like a full-on hangover. Since I quit drinking, my sleep has been so much better. I imagine so, dude. That shit is just poison. Literally everything in your body stops once your body goes into the mode of getting rid of alcohol. Because, I mean, it literally registers as a poison. That's what women order when they're being harassed, is a angel shot. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to do it at home because Pradeep is having his way with me. What's up, Lunchbox? Anyways, guys, shall we get into it? Should we jump into these stories? Oh, yeah. Should I read about meteorite news real quick? Meteorite news. Call HR. I'm going to call Let's Read HR. We got 2 minutes to read this. Always wanted to make a horror movie based around my experiences with bipolar and schizophrenia, but worried that I end up in a cannibal holocaust situation and end up being put in a psych ward. That's probably what's going to happen, so you got to be careful, but I think it's worth the risk. Big New England meteor yesterday. On Saturday, May 30th, 2026, a meteor exploded over northeastern Massachusetts, southeastern New Hampshire around 2:06 p.m., causing a loud boom and ground shaking. NASA said it was moving about 75,000 miles per hour and released energy equal to roughly 300 tons of TNT. The radar suggests some fragments may have fallen into Cape Cod Bay, but recovery would be difficult underwater. Green fireball over a volcano in the Philippines. That was May 25th. A bright green meteor exploded above Mount Mayon on May 25th, 2026. Some people thought that it hit the volcano, but the Philippines agency said it disintegrated in the atmosphere and did not impact. The green color may have been tied to nickel content. Houston meteorite fragment recovered. A rare meteorite fall near Houston earlier this year produced recovered fragments, including a small piece documented by the Lunar and Planetary Institute. NASA/radar tracking helped locate the fall area. Yeah, so maybe that's what they're going to use for like their alien narrative. You know what I mean? Because, you know, like the way I look at reality, it's kind of silly, but it just seems like everything kind of like falls into a like preconceived, anticipated plan. And I don't know. I remember hearing somebody talk about how they spoke to some type of claimed reptilian person, you know, years ago, and they had anticipated the sort of disclosure of alien information starting in like 2026, right? Even though we're all been kind of like slowly desensitized to the concept of it. Who knows, maybe even what some might say propagandized to it through a very extensive psychological operation over the course of a century. But that being said, this reptilian supposed gentleman or gentle lizard said, 2026 alien disclosure, and then going into 2027, there's probably going to be maybe political individuals that go missing. So like actually like big political people that start to go missing. So maybe, who knows, maybe Donald Trump will suddenly go missing in the news and they'll start to blame it on aliens. But then on top of that, I imagine like if there is some degree of like meteoritic events coming, you know what I mean? Like these first ones are just like little ones, and then you get the big ones as like we start to enter into some type of meteor field of sorts. Or maybe, who knows, maybe it might literally be those like huge tungsten bombs that they drop, where they just drop tungsten from like low orbit. Have I started the Jonely fans yet? Not quite. Once the meteors hit, I'll start dropping Jonely fans. The world is fracking ending. We all see it no matter what belief system you sub to. Who knows, man? But, I don't know. Maybe that's whenever the aliens will intervene related to some type of meteoric, asteroidic effect. Hey, Big J, I'm a fat dude, and it's funny how older black men call me Big Man, like in passing at the convenience stores or whenever they want to get my attention. That one guy was selling banana bread. Nice, dude. What up, Big Man? I feel that, bro. I feel it. Random, but that one video you talked about in the past with a couple that were neighbors arguing, turning into a shooting, was in PA. Actually felt weird knowing it was around the corner. That is scary. I didn't know that was in Pennsylvania. That sounds like a Pennsylvanian activity. Am I going to watch Scary Movie? I don't think I'm going to watch Scary Movie, just because it just seemed like your typical, like, let's bang this out as fast as possible and get as much, like, modern shit in there to, like, but I mean, I don't know. Like, right now, like, comedy movies, I would rather sit and scroll on Instagram for 7 hours straight, periodically throughout the day, watching every meme under the sun, than go watch whatever comedy movies are in theaters these days, because they've just, you know, it's just not the same. It's all fun and games until the first UFO message to humanity is footage of the 1936 Olympics. What's the message they send? Did they do it through like the Nazis or something like that? like the actual Nazis. What's your favorite genre of movies? Man, probably science fiction, I would say. Because I gotta be honest with you, like, I like horror movies. I get that they're very successful. I get that people go to them, they feel a degree of emotion, whatever. People like to feel scared. I think a lot of us are kind of like overly addicted to conflict, right? Cortisol, that kind of shit. But I don't know, I'm pretty well checked out on horror movies. Like, even Obsession, like, if I'm being honest with you, even Obsession and all of its successes as a horror movie, to me, feel like shit that we got in the year 2005, like baseline. You know what I mean? Not even baseline, just like, it's like, I just feel like the bar for success is really not that high anymore. And that's fine. So what phase in your cycle are you in? And on the topic of horror, are you a free bleeder? Yeah, I just wear my panties. Did I see the back rooms? I did see the back rooms. Did you see it, Sean? I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Hey, Lucy, what's going on? Been craving some cosmic horror, but it's so hard to do in film. I think so, yeah. I mean, you really just, if you're going to do cosmic horror, it's like a lot of it has to be obviously ominous. It has to be, you know, you have to really set the scene and kind of leave it up to the mystery of the fear that exists within the viewer's mind, you know? Because, I mean, that was kind of the whole purpose of, like, Cthulhu, is that he was just, like, so incomprehensibly large. It was blow one's freaking balls off. Was the back rooms any good? Yeah, the back rooms was a degree of good. It just, you know, I felt like it needed to be a mini-series, which I guess it was, right, with the whole YouTube series or whatever, but I almost feel like it needed to exist within the realm of, like, HBO and be, like, an actual 7-episode, like, mini-series. Maybe 4 episodes, you know? Or maybe a 4-hour movie. Let's just start releasing 4-hour movies. What's up, Tuxedo? Alright, anyways, guys, this is the intro for the Miskatonic Lectures, which is the bonus content we're about to listen to tonight. If you guys do gift any memberships, I will match that at the end of the stream, so please do keep track so everybody can listen to all the good bonus content. Miskatonic, you got it. You're ready. What you are about to hear are a selection of lectures given at the Miskatonic University in Arkham, Massachusetts. Founded in the year 1690 as Arkham College, it was later chartered and expanded into a university by the late 18th century, at which point it took the old Algonquin name of the nearby river. Following the establishment of its Department of Metaphysics, the university became one of the world's largest collections of arcane texts, offering scholars a chance to study events or entities beyond conventional scientific understanding. It was also renowned for inviting guests of honor to give lectures, which from 1779 onward took place in the newly constructed auditorium at Locksley Hall. Guests were often scientists or researchers from institutions both far and wide, but the auditorium also played host to guests of no formal education whose personal stories would have... We'll just start back here. Also, anybody new to the stream, I'm recording stories, so there's going to be a lot of stopping and starting for editing later. When you do your compilation stories, how do you pick which stories you had to the theme of camping, etc.? Thanks for this. Like, for example, camping. Oh, like, that's basically every video, you mean? Yeah, I'll have editors dig through things to find things that fit the specific themes. I think Samuel L. Jackson should be cast in Helen of Troy, personally. I think that would have been a much better selection, honestly. I'm not kidding, we got the Burnt Peanut in Fortnite before GTA 6. Burnt Peanut got a guy in Fortnite? That's cool. Dude, when's Pradeep gonna get in Fortnite? When's Joe Biden gonna be in Fortnite? There is a Tim and Tur in every story. Tim Tur. What's a Tur? Like Peter? Penis Tur? GTA 6 looks good. Did they release another one? Another trailer or something? But yeah, GTA 6 should be cool. Oh, if the Troy movie fails, so they stop. I mean, who knows, man? What would be interesting? What if you go see it and you really like it? Or, who cares, honestly? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is like what? It's like a Greek film, so it would make sense. I mean, but at the same time, one might argue that it's like fantasy, so you can put whatever you want in fantasy. Who knows? Maybe it's a Christopher Nolan tax write-off, right? Because sometimes people make so much money they need to make a film so they can write it off on their taxes when it doesn't do well. I mean, that's, to me, I think that's a brilliant strategy, while also still maintaining your realm within the world of an Oscar or some stupid shit. I don't know. Who cares? Steven Spielberg has apparently created a movie coming out at the end of the year called Disclosure Day, and yet it's apparently going to be an eye-opener. Yeah, but don't you find it kind of strange that right whenever we see alien shit in the media that, like, Steven Spielberg, of all fucking people, is releasing a Disclosure movie? Like, how, like, he's obviously been working on it for years. So, like, does that not, like, to me that just feels like, all of this just feels like state-ran propaganda, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, when the aliens eventually come out, they're like, "Hello, everyone. We would like to let you know that we support the, Greater Israel Project. Anyways, go see Disclosure in theaters this Friday." Guess we're often scientists or researchers from institutions both far and wide, but the auditorium also played host to guests of no formal education whose personal stories were of great interest to both faculty and students. For today's presentation, I have selected 3 such lectures from the university's archives, lectures I think you, our loyal listeners, will greatly appreciate. So without further ado, may I proudly present the first of the Miskatonic lectures. Most of what we watch is propaganda. Do you think all of it is? Do you think it's just like impossible to just make something? I mean, I don't know. It seems like horror movies sometimes tend to go a little bit untouched, but maybe because they don't have, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about, honestly, but one thing I would really like to find out is, you know, that one guy, Curry Chicken Barker, the director of Obsession. I'd be curious to know exactly, like, his workflow. I know this sounds so stupid, but, like, his exact process in which he was able to write this movie and then get it to, you know, get it to Blumhouse and then get it to theater. Like, how did that all work? I'd love to know the back end to just know how, like, achievable it is to get a $750,000 loan and then turn it into something $100 million, $200 million, you know what I mean? Okay, so need you more with the 2. What's the theme tonight? Tonight's theme is bonus content. It's Lovecraftian, the Miskatonic lectures. So, it should be pretty exciting. Have you seen the news of companies starting to put advertisements on the sky? I just can't. That should be illegal if that actually is true. I mean, I remember, like, briefly being in LA years ago and seeing SpaceX, like the star, you know what I mean, like the satellites going up or whatever, and they would sit there in the air for a while. Now, granted, you're in LA, you don't really see the stars that much anyways, but I mean, just the idea that some, like, unnatural eyesores are just going to exist in the sky forever to, like, flood your mind, genuinely to me seems like how you make most people go insane. Also, I had a dream last night that was kind of weird, where it was the United States government was, this was in a dream, so it was just very weird, but the United States government was spraying, like, heavy metals and, like, weird shit in the air, right? Nanoparticle stuff. And then the nanoparticle stuff got into, like, the water supply, and then we would consume it, or we would breathe it in. And then through the use of, like, frequencies, they would activate people and turn them into zombies. And it was basically a zombie apocalypse that was generated based on, like, nanotechnology within humans. But then I also thought it would be kind of a cool idea for a horror story where it's, what are they called? Zombies, but like the zombie apocalypse doesn't really have like a clear indication of where it started. It's like everybody has different ideas of where it came from. I'm sure this has been done to death in zombie apocalypse situations, but... Hello, Joel. Happy Sunday. Hope all is well. Thank you, Decay. How you doing? Do I like messy eaters? Yeah, I think, honestly, I only date fucking pigs eating from a trough. Because apparently there are some behind-the-scenes helpers that are undisclosed. Undisclosed. Quantum immortality, that's the most frightening thing to me. Quantum immortality is where you take your consciousness and put it into an AI, or like replicate it through a clone, and then the AI goes on forever based on your philosophies and ideas. But it's actually, in my perspective, like completely impossible to maintain that immortality, because it will forever just be basically a ever-existing computer system of which will eventually, through the process, I guess, of just rot and breakdown, you know, decay just like every other human does. And it's not like you yourself are continuing on. You would almost be better off transferring your consciousness through the DNA of your children than in the memories that exist within your DNA than a fucking stupid computer. Okiyasa Nijimura with the 2. Unironically sell that idea, that's money. You can have it. Dudes, okay, I had a hilarious joke that I told on the stream that I thought was unique to me that I wrote in the year 2000. I wrote this joke in 2012. It was just a stupid joke, right? It was like it was basically the premise was like being the first person to come at an orgy. Okay, I know that's a bit gross, whatever. But like, it was just, you know what I mean? And then just like kind of meandering around the party and being like, hey guys, do you have any toilet paper? Or like coming in the middle of like people, like the owner of the thing, like, hey, I actually clogged the toilet, can you help me? You know, and it's just like coming to your senses and just, you know what I mean, the whole, just being awkward at an orgy party would just be really funny. Yeah, you lost me. That's okay, that's fine. If you're not inclined towards the more ridiculous comedy, I don't care. But the point is that joke, my friend said that he heard another comedian say that exact premise like more recently, and I was thinking like that'd be so interesting. I mean, I do say a lot of stuff in my streams, and I kind of wonder like how many degrees of separation people are where you like tell something and then it eventually gets to like somebody's ears that have some degree of like control over the creation of something. Your voice is velvet to my eardrums and of course easing my anxiety. That's good. Hey Henry, what's up, dude? You should totally do that, like if you have a cool story about something you experienced in a dream. That's how Stephen King makes his millions. That's true. And I guess I'm a Gemini. I was part of the writer archetype. When was Stephen King born? Let's see. Stephen King birthday. September 21st, 1947. Those are the Capri Sun folk. I thought quantum immortality was the thing where you die but you don't realize because your consciousness goes into a parallel version of yourself in a world where you survive your death. Oh, okay. That does make sense too. I was just kind of like saying things out loud. We could also do tons of cocaine like Stephen King. That kind of worked for him. That's true. Go on like a year-long bender and write the book It. Where honestly I was kind of sitting there thinking like the book It gets a lot of like shit for writing like, you know, some pretty disgusting things of which people might then paint Stephen King out to be like a really perverted, you know, disgusting individual. But I was thinking like, what's the point of writing horror if you don't make people feel like disgustingly uncomfortable, right? To some degree, you know what I mean? Because if you really sit there and think about it, there's a lot of things in modern culture right now that like pisses people off, you know, from all walks of life. And if you don't write stories about that, you know, what is the point? What's the point if you don't upset somebody a little bit or make them question their, you know, comfortable worldview or whatever? Like, you know, because the world is very, very dark. You know, you got to write some boomba-clad shit. Yeah, the Muse Project, multiple people have ideas or thoughts that will hit the public. There you go. Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. We might all be interconnected through, so, like, honestly, I've always kind of thought maybe we're all nodes in a computer, right? And, I mean, I guess they will really want to amplify that at some point by connecting us through, like, chip implants, which if they ever offer you an implant in your brain for whatever, even if you're paralyzed from the waist down, don't get it. Just an advisor. I'm from the future. Don't get that chip implant. Don't let your kids get it. Don't let your grandkids get it. It's not good. But anyways, there might be a collective consciousness that we all can kind of operate on, and maybe also access individually without the usage of chips. I think the chip, through that collective consciousness, might be used in some degree to manipulate a lot of our thoughts, if our phones aren't already like speaking these thoughts into our head. No consent needed. That's fair. I heard a phrase yonks ago: art is meant to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable, like honest to God. Well, that makes a lot of sense, honestly, and yeah, I think you should do that. I had some other point to make related to Stephen King, but we'll get back to it if it comes back to me. I don't know why anyone would let Elon Musk in their head via chip, right? Yeah, I mean, there might be other things too, other people that do it as well, or like something might happen where you almost feel the necessity, like need to, because who knows, maybe through AI, the reasoning of the human mind becomes like so dimmed down that they can't even do basic menial tasks, that eventually you're going to need some degree of like chip to implant to like be able to keep up. The best horror creature is the nameless things from Lord of the Rings, because Tolkien casually mentions them, then refuses to elaborate any further. Gandalf encounters them in the Balrog fight. Yeah, I always really enjoyed that like giant tentacled beast that exists outside of like the mountain of Moria. I remember there's like a In Deep Geek YouTube channel video about that creature, and I think he does a good job at like at least giving attention to that which is otherwise relatively ambiguous. Have you ever had hot Cheetos with pickles, Joel? It's a must, with a cold Dr. Pepper on the side. That sounds like a perfect world, honestly. A perfect world for a girl with 18% left on her phone, or who knows, maybe even worse, 8%. Hey, y'all. Least disregard Joel's previous comment about the brain shifts. At least he was not in the right mind when he says, "Thank you." My apologies, sir. Did you end up watching the Backrooms? I did. You guys are probably proud. You guys are probably proud of me. I've consumed a lot of media lately. I've also collected a lot of Pokemon cards. I'm like full-on NPC mode right now. But honestly, if you think about it, at the end of the day, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Because like, my friend came over. We were playing Hearthstone Battlegrounds while watching As Above, So Below on the TV behind us, and it's just like you just need constant stimulation to even exist anymore, which is fine. But I was also saying, like, what did we even do before that? And he was like, well, I don't think anybody... I was like, did everybody just read? And he was like, I don't think people knew how to read 100 years ago. And I was like, that's a good point. Nobody knew how to read. And he was like, they probably played what the fuck is that? It's like roll a ring, like you have a big ring and you have a stick and ring game where you just run down like a dirt road with a big ring and a stick and just roll the ring down that road. It's probably the only thing anybody ever did. The Pokemon card bubble of the recent kind is about to burst, with that PSA shutdown as a warning of it. I didn't quite understand exactly what that is, because right now we're about to see like a huge, if anybody gives a fuck about this, but it's kind of interesting. So within the realm of like Pokemon cards, you can get your Pokemon card graded by a company that's been around forever called PSA. And then they used to be a coin grading company, and then it went into like sports cards, and now it's in the trading card games and Pokemon and all that kind of stuff. But they have like this very abstract monopoly where if you can get a card and get it graded 10, it takes a card that's worth $800 and it could make it worth $15,000. Not all the time, but like, obviously subjective to the buyer and all that kind of like strange economic market. That being said, PSA also just uses humans to subjectively grade your stuff. Sometimes it can take upwards of like 8 months to get back to you. and many, many controversies that have occurred where like someone, you know, PSA damages their card and then offers to like cover the difference, but then they end up selling that card, that exact card, on their market. So it's like there's clearly a conflict of interest, of which I think like, you know, the FCC or whoever should get involved with, because they can grade the cards but then also sell the cards. And then they also have like this weird relationship with GameStop, where you can actually send your cards into PSA through GameStop, which is odd. Not odd, but interesting. So like you can do it through them for a fee, whatever. But now, if you recall, GameStop is one of those weird companies where nobody's really interested in buying video games anymore. They all buy them online for the most part now, digital media, all that kind of stuff. And they don't really treat their customers very well with like trade-ins and all that kind of thing. So anyways, but then to like, you know, people shorted GameStop and then they made a bunch of money, and then GameStop now has a shit ton of like liquid value available, right? What am I eating? I'm not eating anything. I'm just eating my own words right now. But GameStop has a bunch of liquid value of but like nothing to sell to people. So now GameStop is attempting to buy eBay, because eBay is apparently some of the only places on the internet that you can even sell PSA cards. They also have like a PSA vault. So if you buy a card from someone that's like graded, you know, a grade 10 Bubble Mew or some bullshit, or a grade 10 Osama bin Laden rookie card, you can keep it in their vault and let it sit there and then resell it or whatever, you know. So it's like, so anyways, you can start to see the vertical of how the market sort of operates, as far as like where you can buy, where you can, you know, grade, where you can sell, etc., etc. And like the GameStop wants to buy eBay, which I thought eBay was already owned by Amazon, but I guess I was just sorely mistaken there. And then basically the PSA and their grading wants to create an entire monopoly of like controlling that market. And then on top of that, PSA just randomly stopped, you know, accepting cards for grading that are of value below like $80. So like all the quote unquote bulk cards that are like, you know, you open a pack and you don't get shit, it becomes a bulk card, just like the thousands of pieces of shitty cardboard that sit around in a collection. They no longer accept those. Same with like Tag, they don't do it now either. It's so it's all just a very interesting like change up of the market. But my thought process is, what if nobody buys any more of these fucking graded cards anymore, stop selling them at shows, stop participating in like PSA, all that kind of stuff, and we just buy raw cards that we found and get organically, and keep it all around that, you know, market, instead of this very like open-ended subjective market. But I get it, you know, and obviously it's like PSA graded cards is a place that's very, very ripe for, you know, you probably already guessed it, but money laundering and all that kind of stuff. But it's interesting, even banks actually will allow, you can take loans out and use your cards as collateral. I've seen a dentist recently who like literally accepted Pokemon cards as payment to get like dental work done. It's the craziest shit. Very, very weird market right now. What's your opinion on electronic Pokemon cards? I mean, I think it's stupid as shit. I mean, it would be cool if like you paid real money, opened them, and then they sent you the cards as like a physical asset. But the idea that it just exists as this conceptual NFT, objectively speaking, there's really no difference. But I genuinely think that the physical commodity, or whatever you want to call it, like, is much more appealing to me, so I can pull them out and show people, and it feels like it can't be gamed as much, you know what I mean? Like, it can be gamed in the sense, but it's obviously much more difficult to game the physical market than it is some like digital baloney market, you know? Even 20 plus years ago, the EV Games employee had a massive crush on, even he told me that trading games is a ripoff there. Oh, for sure. It's so expensive now. They're opening like a big printing factory in 2027, the Pokemon Company, who eventually was able to get control of the printing from Wizards of the Coast, but they're opening one in, I think, North Carolina in 2027. So I don't know if that's going to basically make cards less valuable or what. I'm not really sure exactly. People who throw away hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on electronic Pokemon cards seems pretty stupid to me. You know, I mean, honestly, I remember when I was like in 4th grade, I thought Pokemon itself was stupid. And then or Pokemon cards, where I played the game, but I like always thought the card collecting was dumb. And then the second I opened one, I was like, I start foaming at the fucking mouth, you know, and I couldn't stop. But here we are. The moon looks pretty today. Yeah, is it a full moon day right now? May 30th, 1736. Loxley Hall Auditorium, Miskatonic University, Arkham, Massachusetts. My dear sirs, it is with a deep sense of my own insufficiency that I stand here before you. My name is Jack Dawson, and while I carry no titles nor letters of learning, I have known a hard life and learned its lessons dear enough. I was schooled until my 13th year, enough to read a chart and keep a fair account, but I make no claim to scholarship. For as a boy, it was the sea which called to me, and for many years I served honestly as any decent seaman ought. Yet in time I ceased to live as a man of honest labor, and became instead a man of fortune, or to speak plain enough for all ears present, a pirate. I earned His Majesty's Royal Navy as a midshipman at the age of 14. I served faithfully for 6 long years, and when the time came, I passed the lieutenant's examination quite handsomely. Yet with a surplus of passed men and a dearth of commissions, I was forced to remain a passed midshipman, and wait upon fortune to present me with a vacancy. It was in the midst of this consternation. Seaman. Does the word seaman mean something else? Everybody's laughing like crazy. Is this the first story? Yeah, we're finally getting into it here. Basically, these are Lovecraftian-esque stories told in the form of lectures at the Miskatonic University. Is this the Titanic? I don't. It could be. The sister ship discovered Pokemon for the first time in 4th grade too. I think 4th grade, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade is when kids are at their peak, like, collection psychology, if that makes sense. Like, there's something in psychology, you could probably look it up, where kids are very much into, like, gathering things and collecting little bullshit, like stones and butterflies and all that kind of stuff. I don't exactly know why, but I think it translates quite well to then Pokemon themselves. But obviously there's a whole aspect of your developing mind that becomes quite fond of the nostalgia of Pokemon later in life, obviously heavily based upon the first game that you played or the first generation that you started collecting. There's a Lovecraft-themed TTRPG, tabletop RPG, coming out, Heart of Cthulhu, that ties Cthulhu to the sinking of the Titanic. Looks good. Yeah, Cthulhu really, really wanted the Federal Reserve to be made. Ever read The Alchemist by H.P. Lovecraft alongside The Nameless City? It's one of my favorite Lovecraft stories. What happened in The Alchemist? I definitely have made my way through the Necronomicon, but I can't quite remember if I read The Alchemist. Does that end up taking place in Egypt at some point? Or PBS showed a little girl collecting used candles. Oh, that's cute. Used candles? Interesting. Its biology from where gathering was means of survival. Oh, okay, yeah, we were the collecting berries and cream out in the wild. Astral with the $8 Australian. You rock, Joel. The best narrator worldwide. Fact, Jack. Thank you, Astral. God bless you, and God bless Australia. Honestly, I would say people from Australia are pretty fucking cool. Like, to me, when I went to Australia, it was honestly a little bit of a utopia. Like, when I went there was something about it that just felt like all the airports were like perfect, clean. People seemed to care. It was like something about it just seemed to work quite kindly. And I'm not saying it, everything in the world is perfect, but it's a neat place. Canada, I haven't really been up to Canada that much other than the Niagara Falls, so when I get there, I'll let you know. But I'm not too sure. Your voice sounds very similar to Nightmare Notes. Your narration cadence and rhythm is much better, though. Thank you. The Alchemist revolves around a generational curse on the main character's family from a wrongfully murdered sorcerer who found the secret of immortality or something close to it. A wrongfully murdered sorcerer. Oh, okay. That sounds pretty awesome. My creature eggs in Subnautica are hatching. Let's go. I heard in some... Yeah, I'm banned from Canada. I was blocking the roads. I was one of the truckers. Nobody's getting through. 1 Aussies lose their life to save 10 people from a vicious spider attack. Exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, they just seem like pretty tough folk. Intelligent folk. Pretty interesting, yeah. Voices are always in a state of questioning. Everything finishes with an upward inflection. That's fine. Not down there. That's fine. No, that's not right. I don't know. When I was in Aussie land, Nicole Kidman held up our plane. You'd think that she'd have her own. I know. What a bitch. I was waiting on her to meet me there. The only problem is I have with Australia is all the venomous and poisonous animals that kill you very quick. Oh yeah, I always forget about those things. It was in the midst of this consternation that the Spanish surprised Gibraltar. Gibraltar, and put it... Oh, okay. It was in the midst of this consternation that the Spanish surprised Gibraltar and put it to siege. I was then aboard His Majesty's ship Portland, and with some 20 ships beside us, we set sail for the Spanish Main, with orders to blockade Portobello. At first we enjoyed good fortune, and took several Spanish vessels, but the climate proved a deadlier enemy when fever swept through the fleet like fire through a dry field. The fleet made sail for Jamaica in scattered detachments, yet our ship, being among the hindmost, was set upon by a small squadron of Spanish guardacostas. Oh, the Coast Guard. Whoa. As a fan of Lovecraft, here's my biggest Lovecraft hot take. Robert E. Howard, creator of Conan the Barbarian, wrote Lovecraftian horror better than Lovecraft. They were friends and collaborated. That's totally fair. Yeah, I mean, like, Lovecraft obviously was inspired by many writers, and have inspired many writers that have iterated off of his concept. I mean, everybody's just one step after the other, right? So-and-so walks so so-and-so could run. What's that one book? The King in Yellow, all that kind of stuff. Did I eat Vegemite? I actually did it on stream, and it was disgusting. Was he also racist? You know, funny thing about that is that, I mean, whatever, but the funny thing about what's-his-name's cat is that Lovecraft's cat, the name that he uses was actually given by his parents to, like, his growing up cat. So, like, in a weird way, it wasn't necessarily him that came up with that name. It was like he was, like, fondly recalling, like, you know, his childhood cat, if that makes any sense. And a lot of people talk about him having, like, certain phobias, but I think a lot of his phobias that he had towards other types of people literally came from, like, his really like, Lovecraft's upbringing, from what I recall, was his, like, Munchausen by proxy type raising from his mother, where his mother would just, like, keep him in the house forever, protecting him from the outside world, pretending that the outside world was disgusting and demonic, and dress him up as, like, a little girl until I think he was, like, 8 years old. Did you ever hear about that? Lovecraft's mom would, like, force him to dress, I think, and act as, like, a little girl till he was, like, a bit older, and, like, eventually people were like, what the fuck, you know? Robert E. Howard was not known to be a racist, but he did have Oedipus complex. I mean, I don't know, man. The whole world's a bit strange, right? So these kind of, like, open-ended definitions of what we want to kind of, like, slander people with, it's just, the art, you gotta separate the art from the artist, or just kind of try to make sense of it, I guess. Honestly, don't even know what the Lovecraftian means. Like, what does the genre technically mean? It just means, like, stories that are within or heavily inspired by the writer H.P. Lovecraft. If you've ever heard of, like, Cthulhu, you know, the big monster who has, like, an octopus head and, like, a dragon's body, and that's, like, the size of a mountain, and is, like, interdimensional, and, like, speaks to people through dreams. And there's a lot of, like, themes related to going insane, from, like, seeing something so terrifying that you're like, you know, you become fucking Courage the Cowardly Dog type shit. Cosmic horror, exactly. Wait, a neighbor who did the Munchausen thing to one of the neighborhood cats. What did he do to the poor kitty? My father raised me as a boy until ears, I hear you. Really? What do you mean? Yet our ship, being among the hindmost, was set upon by a small squadron of Spanish guardacostas who seemed eager for our blood. I saw the fights beginning, but not its end, as during a most terrible and well-placed volley, a ball struck our mast full on, and a large splinter of timber lodged fast within... Wait to read that again. What did I cook today? I just had chicken, like pre-marinated, air-fried. So like 2 8-ounce chickens with a DC, with a Diet Coke. I saw the fights beginning, but not its end, as during a most terrible and well-placed volley, a ball struck our mast full on, and a large splinter of timber lodged fast within my skull. My shipmates thought me dead. Yet the surgeon, seeing some spark of life still left in me, resolved upon a strange and fearful operation, and after carefully removing the splinter, he fastened a small plate of metal to the cleaved bone so that I might recover. I was told the surgery was the first of its kind performed by an English doctor, which gave me some unease. Yet I thank God the surgeon saw fit to gamble, for after many months in the infirmary, I recovered my strength entirely. It was a great joy to be on my feet again, but sadly, that joy did not endure. For though my wounds had mended, my senses were not yet wholly restored. I was declared temporarily unfit for service, and while it is many a sailor's dream to spend idle days upon golden sands, my time was poisoned by an inward torment I could neither master nor escape. I asked myself why I'd throw my life away for a man I'd never met, in a place that wasn't home, and for little more than airy notions spoken by lords and ministers. I came to understand I fought not for king nor country, nor yet for the miserable wages, but rather for the man beside me. For what sense is there a man weathering tempest? For what sense is there in a man weathering tempest, cannon shot, and ravaging disease, to earn but 19 shillings for his trouble? Good fucking question, honestly. Why does anybody sign up for the military when they get nothing but a measly check and some fucking PTSD? Air fryer chicken is the best. Yeah, I think so. And honestly, I'd say it's like the responsible thing to do, to cook a lot of shit in the air fryer, because like, you know, like especially like pork chops. So many people I know just fuck pork chops up, right? Like you can do it, but the ability to like maintain a delicious crispy exterior with seasoning and, you know, the perfect ratios of fat and caramelization, while a degree of moisturized protein within is just sometimes relatively unachievable. Because the military benefits. I mean, I don't know. Someone made a good point that like there might come a time where like a large amount of like illegal migrants might have the opportunity to join the military to get citizenship in the, you know, speed in which to like fight World War III or something like that. And I was like, I could see that panning out. Or not, I don't know to what degree, but would you rather dedicate your life to the military or NASA or explore space? I mean, NASA seems chill if I can just sit in a fucking stupid room all day and pretend space is real. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, just like do math all day and drink coffee and jerk off onto the floor or whatever they do under their desks. It is what it is. Being the fourth child and a girl, my old man wanted a son, so he insisted I be boy. Like in a abusive way, or just like treated you like a tomboy type way? Like took you to do... Did he call you boy, or like I'm just confused? The sign up because the government brainwashed them into, along with family who's already brainwashed. And I mean, that's Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that too, for sure. Doesn't mean I don't respect military service at all. Like, I really do. And I know a lot of people who have become great people through their military service, but I also know those same people have basically rattled their brain to such an extent that their nervous system is just like 100% fucked forever. Like, the need to like wake up, I mean, I've bitched about this before, but the need to wake up at 1 a.m. and then 2 a.m. and then 3 a.m. just to like go into like a fight or flight response to like clear your house and make sure that there's no evil people to shoot you is a little scary, I would say. What's up, Susie Q? Good to see you. Can you do that in the chair for us? I hope so. For what sense is there in a man weathering tempest, cannon shot, and ravaging disease to earn but 19 shillings for his trouble? And it was then, dear listeners, that a black and poisonous avarice took root within my soul. In my melancholy, I poured out my very soul to a fine Jamaican lass named Venus. She was a fine girl, soft of voice and fair to look upon, and her company was a salve upon my weary heart. Yet ultimately she could not keep me from damnation. When I spoke of my desire to desert. The pants with, yeah, like deserting them. But like, it's so funny that it's spelled desert, but it's pronounced dessert, like dessert. That's so interesting, but not really that interesting at all. What's up? No frowns. Just make sure you have a demonic Furby to shoot at 3 a.m. You're right, yeah, just set up, give them something to shoot so they can fall back asleep. I suppose most of the day clearing out stuff from the backyard and garden shed for a big garbage day. That's awesome. What's up, Heath? How's it going? What are you up to? When I spoke of my desire to desert, she told me of a privateering company out of Nassau that... That's because one of them has 2 S's. No, but listen. You have the desert, which is a noun, right? It's a thing. And then you have dessert, which is a noun, which is a delicious treat after dinner, right? And then you have it's a verb, to desert your people. Like to desert your company, to desert the military. You're a deserter. Why'd your message get deleted? I don't know. Maybe it's automated or something like that. I'm not really sure. I don't see anything deleted. Yeah, to desert or abandon, exactly. But then to desert or abandon is spelled like desert, but it's pronounced like dessert, like the sweet treat. So, I don't know. It's just like, it's the most pointless thing ever, but it's slightly interesting. Brainwashed, that an interesting word for it. It amused me that some people think to be proud to be an American and willing to fight for it merely as a result of being brainwashed. No, it's not. There's a lot more nuance to it for sure. And I'm not saying people in the military are just straight up brainwashed. And I do believe in having a degree of national pride is beneficial for those involved. But I mean, like, I think it's also important to have a healthy, in the same sort of manner, those people that were proud to be an American should, in my opinion, have probably the utmost distrust of that same government that sends you to foreign wars to potentially sacrifice your life for most likely some sort of private company's interest, or you know what I mean, or even like a real estate plan. I wasn't saying you said that. No worries. Sorry, I misconstrued it, but I'm just saying there's a degree of nuance there for sure that I just say if you're going to get into it, just be aware of the consequences. So to desert someone is to serve them additionally. Yeah, exactly. There should be another one specifically related to a sweet treat. Everyone, good night, Mr. Reed. I'm going to listen to one of your skinwalkers go to bed. Night, David. Take care. When I spoke of my desire to desert, she told me of a privateering company out of Nassau that'd pay handsomely for a hand of my experience. When I told her I had... God damn it. When I told her that I'd no wish to cast my lot beside the Spanish... What is this saying? When I told her I'd no wish to... I'd no wish, man. Got any summer plans? Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna go to like this thing called the desert, or what the, not the desert, the Cincinnati Card Show, or the Kentucky Card Show in Cincinnati. I fucking forget. At some point this summer with a friend, and then some other friends wanted to do like a cabin retreat of sorts for a week. I don't know exactly when that's gonna happen, but I need to do more shit, dude. I am so fucking bored of my life and everything. I'm very thankful for this. This is like, I'm at that stage where I have like advanced boredom. And the advanced boredom is like, I feel very similar to how maybe like those bears in those like Indian zoos that just like the sun bears that just sit there and like rock their heads back and forth all day, just waiting to die. I'm not saying that it's that bad, but I feel a little bit like an orca whale trapped at SeaWorld, where they're just like screaming into a fucking big glass wall that's echolocates into their brain and makes it explode. Adopt a child. Dude, there's not a chance in a fucking world that I'm just like adopting a kid as like a solo dad. That would be like insanity. Just stared at your video and it's tripping me out. I got you, bro. No worries. When I was wee, I used to think dessert was invented in the desert, and that's why they were similar. That might have been the case. They needed something cool. They invented ice cream in the desert to keep them frosty. Are you ever going to Australia again? If so, you'll have to come to Melbourne, to the inner burbs, Richmond, Fitzroy, and Brunswick. You know, I don't think I'll ever go back to Australia. I mean, I'm not saying I won't ever, but dude, traveling, and I mean traveling in the sense of like not just the flight, but like the waking up, the fucking driving 3 hours or wherever the fuck, and then driving again, you know what I mean? Like the total travel time from like the time I woke up till when I finally got to my fucking hotel room in Australia was like 48 hours. And then the long flight was, slightly uncomfortable and just I don't know. By the time I landed, my piss was like brown. I was so dehydrated, and I was like hydrating too. It's just like, I don't know if your body is just in a constant state of fear or something. I'm not even really sure. And then when I got back, I had like such shitty jet lag that I couldn't sleep for like 3 days straight for whatever reason. I'd sleep for like an hour and just wake up and couldn't fall back asleep. That I went a little insane briefly. Anyways, 400 million light year flight, yeah. When I told her I'd no wish to cast my lot beside the Spanish, she laughed and said these were no Spaniards, but Englishmen who drank and gamed in the taverns round Treasure Beach. To spare themselves the Navy's wrath, the privateers preyed only upon Spanish treasure ships. Yet what they seized did not find its way to the king's coffers, but was divided amongst the company themselves. I'd heard many tales of such crews, men who sailed stolen ships under no lawful banner and lived in anarchy upon such vessels. Yet Venus said they were no demons nor bloodthirsty cutthroats, but rather free men fighting the war on their own terms and not that of the king. The blind fool that I was, I believed that I'd a chance to gather such a weight of gold that, upon my return to Jamaica, I might purchase a new name, pass myself off as some wealthy merchant, and cast away forever the shame of desertion and piracy. I know full well that I made a grave and damnable error, yet in the thick fog of my sorrow and madness, I gave myself over to folly, and so made course for Treasure Bay. Finding a man among the Nassau. Privateers, aka pirates. That's what Johnny Depp said in those movies. Pirates. Privateers. What is it? aka pirates. It's so cool to hear you as a normal person instead of my professional. Always hear you. It makes me smile. Oh, thank you. Good to see you. Oh, wait. Did we see Hawk? Oh, there is Hawk. What's up, Hawk? How you doing, bro? Have you watched Obsession or the new Mandalorian movie? I haven't watched the Mandalorian movie. I heard it was bad. But I did watch Obsession, and I thought Obsession was like a really solid, like 8 out of 10 for sure. Like as far as horror movies go. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't some like groundbreaking end of the world type shit the way people make everything out to be because we have slim pickings. It was just, it did a really, really good job. Manda was great. People were just mad they didn't get any lightsabers in the movie. Oh, okay. I guess I just didn't really hear that. I thought it was just like more like a TV show movie, kind of like how the animes have movies in theaters sometimes. Does anyone have a magic lamp to rub? Maybe we can conjure Justin. Yeah, where is that silly goose? All gravy here, just adulting. Yeah, did that creepy guy leave you alone at the gym? I haven't seen him in a bit, but I mean, it's not that he does anything bad. He's just a starer. He's just a bit of a desiring of the meat. The scene in Obsession where she comes out of, yeah, that was an insane. Lot of good. I mean, a lot of moments in that were just incredibly uncomfortable. Me and my wife Demi are big fans. Love you, bro. Thank you. Love you guys too. Appreciate you. You're supposed to remind you that Pradeep has jury duty. I don't know if you were here, Hawk, but I told people that like I had heard people call me to pretend to be jury duty, and that they were like an officer from like the state, and that I had like missed jury duty, and that someone else had like signed off on me, like acknowledging that I had jury duty, and I was literally almost convinced of it till in the midst of the conversation with them. I asked ChatGPT if this was a legitimate thing, and it was like, that's a very common scheme that people try to extort like personal information out of you. And whenever I asked the guy, I'm like, is this a scam? And he was like, no, sir, this is a serious matter. And I was like, can you just like send officers to my house so I like know that this is legitimate? And they're like, and he just like goes 10-4 and like hangs up. I don't know why. It's just like so funny. 10-4. Bloop. Oop, hyper deep. My cat is now under my feet. Ask them which district court and who the presiding judge is and the officer that signed the warrant is. Yeah. I think I did ask some questions, and they do go a decent direction with it at first, but don't be tricked. Fucking 10-4. 10-4. Like when he said 10-4, there was a brief thought in my head like, oh fuck. Like, are they actually going to send people to my house to, like, shoot me in the head with a bazooka? Door gets busted through just to deliver jury duty, yeah. Get on the fucking floor! Taser, taser, taser! Finding a man amongst the Nassau privateers was... Am I saying this place right? Nassau. I probably said it wrong. Bollocks. Nassau. Finding a man amongst the Nassau privateers was the easiest of the two tasks set before me. The harder task was persuading them I wasn't a spy in the pay of His Majesty's Navy. So to prove my good faith, I was made to ride with them 2 nights later in the robbing of a pay wagon. I had reckoned the deed might pass without bloodshed, yet my 2 companions lost no time drawing saber and pistol. Then, believing no spy of the king would murder in cold blood, they bid me finish one of the pay wagon's wounded guards. And the poor devil had already been shot once, and run through twice besides. Run through? The poor devil had already been shot once, and run through twice besides, so, believing it more mercy than murder, God forgive me, I did as they demanded. I took passage with my new companions aboard a trading sloop disguised as merchants, and sailed with them back to New Providence and to the private enclave at Nassau. This is going to be one of those words where I just can't remember it. Nassau. Jesus, fuck. Nassau. Like NASCAR. Never make it live. Good to see you in action. Thanks, Brooklyn. Yeah, we're just recording bonus content here, so anybody who's a member, please check it out later and or on Patreon. It's only possible to get a signed jury duty if you're registered to vote in your county, at least in North Carolina. Oh, that makes sense. First Teflon, then Red 40, the Driscoll strawberries being poisoned out of the data centers. It seems like a lot of non-connected concepts, but I see what you mean. Hey, Ben. Okay, yes, I need you more. It says, write it on a sticky and put it on the monitor. Wait, what? My jury duty? I don't remember what you were talking about. I've already forgotten. I passed my CDL, now I miss your night lives on Wednesdays. Oh, dang, Supar, I'm sorry about that. But at the same time, I'm glad you got a job. I took passage with my new companions aboard a trading sloop disguised as merchants, and sailed with them back to New Providence and to the private enclave of Nassau. As we rounded the point and entered the harbor, the town rose before us. A modest yet bustling collection of wooden dwellings, warehouses, and taverns clustered along the shore. Some 20 vessels lay at anchor, displaying the colors of many nations, but all were the prizes of the buccaneers who called the place home. As we began rowing towards the docks aboard a longboat, the air was thick with the odors of pitch, rum, and saltfish. From the shoreline, the cries of sailors and vendors could be heard, joined by the hammering of shipwrights and the barks of half-wild dogs. It was a wild place, but one where the ancient customs of the sea held stronger than the rule of law. There were indeed a number of Englishmen sheltering in the town, yet I counted more. Dude, I fucking, Sam? So this is a story from Sam writing right here. But Sam does, such a fucking good job at, replicating the language and vernacular and writing style of, Lovecraft, that it just, flows so freaking nicely. I can see how many months people have been following. I'm curious how long I have. Following me? I'm not really sure if it shows you, how long you've been subscribed or not. I can click this. Channel activity. It shows me your chats. Joined 8 years ago as, it says joined 8 years ago, I guess, as a account on YouTube, but beyond that, I'm not really sure. It does show me your one comment. Do you know Mortis Media? His voice makes me so mad. That's funny. I don't know why that's funny, but it's funny. I've been listening since 2022, and this is the first time I've actually caught a live. Hey, good to see you, Star. Star shipping. You get badges. The badges show how long you've been following. Oh, okay. Hey, Ella. Pretty sure it's just for members. Are you still a spring chicken? Existing in the spring because of my background? We do have a new background that, remind me, I'm going to put up. Robin made it. It's on my Instagram story at letsread.official, but I'm going to put that up on my birthday here on June 3rd when I go live. It's going to be so fucking cool. There were indeed a number of Englishmen sheltering in the town, yet I counted many more Irish and Scotsmen among them, along with a handful of Frenchmen, Spaniards, and even a few former slaves. Many bore the marks of their trade, gold rings in their ears and dueling scars about their necks and faces, but what drew my eye the most were the weapons they so brazenly displayed. In a tavern known as the 3 Tons, I met the quartermaster of a ship named... your birthday is June 3rd. It's technically June 4th, but we're going to be streaming on the 3rd since that's our typical stream schedule. And maybe I'll stay up till midnight and be all excited. Maybe this birthday I'll just eat cookies or some shit. Orestes, okay. 3 Tons. The Dirty 6. I'm turning Dirty 6, yeah. Oh boy, I don't know. What do you think I should do? What do you guys think I should do once I turn 36? Because I'm kind of hitting a bit of a wall in life. Your baby turns 9 months on June 30th. Oh, that's awesome. 9 months. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Do whatever you want. Do an IRL stream. Travel. Yeah, I probably should travel just to break up the monotony of things. Go passport, bro. Where do I go? Probably if I do go somewhere, like, it kind of has to be Japan. Like, I have to go to Japan before the world ends. Like, that's 100% has to happen. If anybody's from Japan, wants to show me around for like a month, that would be pretty sick nasty. You were 36 when your only girl was born. Oh, that's cute. The Philippines. Yeah, maybe the Philippines. You can show me around, Fry. I stopped caring about birthdays after 21, to be honest. It's all the same. No, that's totally fair. It's just, I mean, I don't, technically care about the birthdays, because in real life, it doesn't matter. I'm not like, oh my god, but it's just, it's more the realization at 30 fucking 6. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? I mean, that's not a what the fuck type thing, but it's just, what does anybody do, I guess? I just need to find some, like, legitimate hobbies that just, like, fill me with such a degree of joy that even if it was just me alone on a fucking island, I would be like, yeah, this is cool. Your mom loves me. She's from Japan. Do you think she could show me all over Japan? Like, I want to go see sumo wrestlers. I want to go see Akigahara. I want to go see the bullet trains in Tokyo and Pokemon and fucking gooning as a hobby. That's fair. I guess if I was on an island, I would just be gooning the whole time. Aging is a privilege. That's a good point too, honestly. You gotta, like, count the good things. I feel the same. For some reason 36 feels so much more serious than 35, but you'll be fine. Yeah. Go see micro wrestling for your birthday. Micro wrestling, is that like with midgets or something? Or like little mice people? I had my son when I was 47. That's cool. Is he, like, healthy and good? And is he doing all right? Take her. She will translate everything for you, and she's a great cook. Fuck, dude, that would be so funny. Go to fucking Japan and, like, live with a little Japanese lady. Do you think that would be a good idea? I would hate to, like, upset her, you know what I mean? I feel like I would do something to upset her. There's a dude on YouTube who fell in love with the Ecuadorian Indian tribal girl while filming documentary for his channel. You could do something similar. That might be the move. If you go, make sure you visit the Shogun's palace. Fuck, I need to do everything. I need someone to, like, plan it all out. And then it can be her. Tell her if I go, I'll pay for all her shit too. They're called mama-sans in Japan. Oh. I need myself a mama-san. Japan's birth rate is declining. That's a great point. Yeah, but, like, I'm not Japanese, so I don't know if, like, they would want me muddying their waters. It seems, to be honest with you, I love the Japanese people, but I know out of respect for their culture, I know that they very much want to keep Japan as Japanese as possible. And I don't know how, like, open to the idea of intermixing they would be. Just going to single-handedly increase the birth. Yeah, we're going to just completely change the demographic of Japan to straight Geminis. They need me. They need me. What are they doing? What are you talking? Like, how the fuck are Japanese dudes not going insane over there? Seems like everybody's... Well, I don't even know. It just seems like it's a completely different dynamic, where, like, some Westerner shows up who's a tourist and they're all like, hello, here's all of our amazing stuff. And you're like, I fucking love this place. But then the second you leave and it shows them, like, living out their daily life, they're like, if I don't get 100% on this test, I'm gonna have to jump off a fucking bridge. My whole family's gonna beat me with fucking bamboo sticks. This does happen. This is a guaranteed thing. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. You know what's so funny about the I think I'm turning Japanese song? I remember I looked it up as to why that is, And I'm fairly certain the lyrics, and correct me if I'm wrong, the guy is so into somebody that he's stalking them and jerking off so much that his like eyes are squinting. And it's just this like weird fucking song about like stalking some chick, jerking off, and then like slightly racial against Japanese people. It's insane. Maybe I made that up. I don't know. The majority of Japanese men are salarymen and who work long hours. Damn, dude. And if they just stopped, like, would everybody like be upset with them or something? Like, don't you think their wives would be like, oh, finally, husband is home. My boss is Japanese. He works even on weekends and holidays. If not working, they're building connections. Just in time for us YouTubers to wander over there and steal all their Godzilla babes. Japan is a cool place to visit, but most Westerners, non-Asians, will hate it unless you're on a military base, perhaps. Makes sense. Yeah, I don't think... Like, I've always been curious. There is a gentleman by the name of James Corbett from the Corbett Report. And every time I listen to his videos, he says, coming at you live from the sunny climes of Western Japan. And I've always been curious, like at some point when he was younger, he moved from the god-awful home of Canada to the sunny climes of Western Japan. And I've always been curious if if people like him there or what the deal. I mean, obviously he has a family and shit, but you don't think quitting is even an option in Japan. That's fascinating. Well, have you ever seen a male Japanese porn star? There's a real little reason why. Yeah, no, most of the Japanese porn star men are like disgusting. They like grab them off of the fucking, like every Japanese porn star woman's like the most beautiful person you've ever seen, but then like Japanese porn star men are just like old uncles off of a fucking subway train who like got off of work and they're like, we need you to be in an orgy at the base of Mount Fuji right now. Do you hang out with your friends on your birthday? Yeah, I probably will. How do I know? One of my friends said about he's a fucking pervert. He's a goddamn disgusting freak. He says they blur, like, thank God they blur that pornography. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. We should do that in America. I think all porn should just be blurred. There should just be a big black box, like where the people are, and you don't even see anything, and it's just completely pointless. It's technically legal to discriminate against foreigners in Japan with housing, etc. I don't know. I feel like that's low-key fine. Like, if they're trying to, like, maintain whatever they want to maintain and keep Japan as Japanese as possible, like, this idea that you can't have like pride in like who you are ethnically and whatever is just like so strange to me. And I think like kind of a more like modern phenomena that as long as you're not like hurting people, right? You know, maybe go to Korea Grill for your birthday. That's good. Oh yeah, that'd be fun if they can find one of those. In a tavern known as the 3 Tons, I met the quartermaster of a ship named the Orestes. I forgot how to say it instantly. Orestes, okay, so that was it. In a tavern known as the 3 Tons, I met a quartermaster of a ship named the Orestes, who asked me many a question related to my service and circumstance. Only once satisfied was I invited to meet the ship's captain. Captain William Cutter was a fearsome specimen, tall, strong, with skin like leather and eyes as black as a shark's. He exchanged a few quiet words with his quartermaster, then told me to make my way down to the docks in 3 days' time. As thanks to the failed blockade of Portobello, a fine prey of Spanish treasure ships were set. A fine prey, plural. A fine prey. That's kind of cool. Like a grouping of them is called a prey. That's interesting, actually, usage of words. Open up a bricks and mini figurine stores. I don't know. My one friend wanted to start like a trading card shop when I started getting into Pokemon, and I was like, dude, no, because then one of us is going to have to actually go work in it, and I know for a fact your lazy ass is going to be like, I can't go in today. I have a girl over. I can't go in tonight. So finally finished making and serving all the food for our barbecue. Everyone is outside and I am inside. I don't smoke pot. They are all stoners. I'm in the air conditioning and let them boil in the heat. It's all good, man. Sometimes people just like to get a little high. Have you ever accidentally left an unedited part out when you post? Yeah, many a time. A grouping of crows is called a murder of crows. Exactly. Egg snackly. How come your live streams only go back 2 years? It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way if you go to the playlist. Unless the playlist like caps out at a certain amount or something like that. But I set it to a playlist and there's a live stream tab. So you might just have to keep scrolling, or maybe it didn't reset or something. Hey, Mr. Salesman, how you doing? Have you never heard the Bricks and Minifigs drama? It's huge right now. It's supposed to make you laugh. Oh, I don't really know drama that. I mean, I do know a lot of random stupid dramas that are pointless. What is the Bricks and Minifigs drama? This is going to be so important to our lives, guys. It's going to prove to all of us how much we need to go outside and fucking sit inside of a fucking anthill and get bitten. The drama is basically a viral Lego consignment dispute involving a Bricks and Minifig store in Salem/Kaiser, Oregon. Oh, of course it's Oregon. A collector's huge Lego Star Wars collection, and YouTuber Reckless Ben. A guy named Brian Mansell says that his family's Lego collection, often reported as worth up to $200,000, was put on consignment with a former Bricks and Minifigs franchise store in Oregon. The alleged deal was that the store would sell pieces and pay him a share. After ownership/franchise issues and the store transition/closure, Mansell says that he couldn't get back the full collection or the money he believes he was owed. Reports describe the collection as hundreds of sets and over 1,000 minifigs. They deny stealing it. The story blew up because Reckless Ben, a YouTuber known for stunt investigative style videos, got involved and started making content trying to recover the collection. Blah, blah, blah. Who gives a fuck? No, that's fair. That's interesting, though. I mean, that would be really lame if somebody just, like, stole your shit. Do I have any tattoos? Just on my lower back. I usually get my social news from Atozi or Charlie Penguins. However you spell his channel. Oh, yeah. Mr. Charlie. Mr. Moisty. I like Charlie, but, like, I don't really listen to his videos that much. Yeah, it's a tramp stamp on my lower back. It says, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. As above, so below." Basically saying you can do whatever you want to me. As thanks to the failed blockade of Portobello, a fine prey of Spanish treasure ships were set to sail through the Windward Passage. Since the expenses of my sojourn had me indebted to Captain Cutter, I had little choice but to make my way to the docks where the arrestees awaited me. I was required to sign the ship's articles, or the rules and regulations which govern the captain and his crew, and while I'd been led to believe that anarchy reigned on such vessels, the truth was far from it. There was to be no stealing, drunkenness, or fighting among the crew. Those who murdered their own would be hanged. Cowards would suffer the same fate. Yet those who spotted prizes were given the choice. Those who spotted prizes. What does that mean, spotted? Penguin's dry, sarcastic humor shift got old rather quickly for me. Yeah, it's not that. I just, like, you know, when it comes to sort of controversial takes or anything like that, like, he's kind of just, you know, and there's nothing to be ashamed of to be like some fence rider, because if you were to upset one side or the other to such an extent, it could have, you know, grandiose monetary effects upon his millions and millions of dollars he makes a year, which is fucking cool. Making millions of dollars, like, yeah, if I made millions of dollars, I would say whatever the fuck Reddit and Twitter Blue Sky wants me to fucking say all goddamn day. I do not give a fuck. But, you know, if your brand is built around that, I mean, like the more, I guess, more discerning minds of sorts who want a degree of perhaps nuance in a take might deviate elsewhere. I'm 41 and several, like 7 friends of my age just had healthy babies, so it's possible, but I just have to find the guy that's ready for that too. Fingers crossed I have mine, but it's complicated. My tramp stamp says, dead men tell no tales. That'd be great. The pirate, like the pirate, what's it called? What's the pirate flag called? Like, Jack's booty. X marks the spot. Yahar. Yet those who spotted prizes were given the choice pick of plunder, while cripples were furnished with a fine sum of 600 pieces of 8. But most astonishingly, if the crew of a captured vessel surrendered themselves and begged mercy, we were compelled, to the very last man, to show it to them. I made my way aboard the ship, and what awaited me was perhaps the motliest crew of misfits and monsters to ever sail the 7 seas. The master, second only to the captain in authority, was a giant German from Hamburg, and possessed of himself a great booming laugh and a fondness for gallows humor. The boatswain. Yeah, the Jolly Roger right above your asshole. That'd be perfect. That'd be the most perfect tattoo. Probably the best tattoo. Somebody said there's like video of like Donald Trump like constantly farting and like shitting. I wouldn't be surprised if like some of that is like somebody like ADR'd that or like, you know, did a recording over top of it. But then the fact that you like correlate that with like the Epstein files and potentially someone doing some certain things to his butthole, it kind of makes me wonder. Bosuns. Oh, that's how, oops. Fuck. Bosuns. The bosun was an elderly. It's AI. Somebody added farts to it. That's fair. When I was young, I was being picked up for work. Oh yeah, Hawk, I mean, we don't have to get too far into it if it upsets anybody, but what is your thoughts on, 6 million different DOJ files released, much of them involving allegations against Trumpian and his associations with an intelligent asset known as Jeffrey Epstein. You ever thought about joining a book club? That might not be a terrible idea, because it's kind of like going to a Bible study, but probably like way more fun. Never expect nautical terms to be pronounced the way they're spelled. Yeah, I wonder what the origins of the bosun. Bosun, okay. The bosun was an elderly Liverpudlian, tattooed from head to toe and much accustomed to his craft, while the gunner was a copper-haired Irishman who talked of his cannons like a man would his daughters. The surgeon was a mad Frenchman who scarcely spoke a word of English. Our carpenter, a one-eyed Welshman of stout stature and harsher temper. Our sailmaker, a Portuguese, was surprisingly proficient with a needle and thread considering his predilection for grog, but our cook was from Napoli and is a man I still remember with great affection. Never in all my life have I tasted finer galley scran as his, and has he not chosen the life of... and had he not chosen... What's up, Lit Gaming? My sisters host book clubs and has wine and these cheese and crackers deal, and they all dress up characters in book or something that seems fun. Yeah. I wonder... Yeah, it could be... Yeah, I don't know. It could be really good, I guess. I don't know. I need to do fucking something. That's the point. It's the end all be all. Hey, see ya, Heps, bro. I wish YouTube would let everybody go back to their usernames again. It's just so confusing. Never in all my life have I tasted finer galley scran as his, and had he not chosen a life of villainy, I'm quite certain that he'd have occupied the position of palace cook on some regal Habsburg estate. We weighed anchor that morning under a clear sky with a brisk northerly wind. The Orestes was a fine Bermuda sloop of some 80 tons, low in the waist, swift on the wind, and pierced for 12 guns. 6 4-pounders either side with a pair of swivels to the fore. She carried her press of sail most willingly, and as we cleared the harbor mouth, I felt the stir in the blood of a man feels. She carried her press of sail most willingly, and as we cleared the harbor mouth, I felt the stir in the blood a man feels when he commits himself to the sweet trade. For 6 long days we cruised the windward passage, with our lookouts posted high in the cross trees from dawn till dusk. Then on the 17th, with the coast of Hispaniola. Dang, dude, we kind of know some words. Hispaniola. Okay, cool. I found the rest of the live streams in the playlist. It seems like the show stopped showing up after the 2-ish years on the live stream tab. Oh, interesting. Okay, good to know. Thank you for actually telling me that for future reference. Honestly, it doesn't seem to make any meaningful difference what the files contain given the lack of justice being carried out and the general population's lack of coherent response. Yeah, that's a great fucking point. I mean, like, honestly, because, I mean, think about it. It's like, I mean, so much of that, at least the implications therein are just so wide sweeping. The idea that like external entities can just like traffic people, do terrible satanic operations, but then on top of that just like completely compromise and destroy our government from within, presumably. But then simultaneously, most of us would rather just continue to exist in a more peaceful existence where we eat garlic knots, and I totally understand where they're coming from too. And really any sort of like upheaval within like the population most likely is going to be coordinated by the government themselves solely to like put said upheaval down quickly and then expand, you know, tyrannical power. Which, you know, many such cases, folks, many such cases. You like burbs? Me too, dude. Everything that's transpired over the last 12 months has destroyed what shred of faith that I may have in people utterly and completely. That's fair. All you can really do is focus on your family and hope for the best. Hey, there's Justin. What's up, big dog? Or is he now little dog from having been using Ozempic for 6 years straight? Oh, there's little cat, deep at my feet. The files are part of demoralizing psyop for Americans in the world. That makes sense too, honestly. I mean, because it's demoralized me, because I sit there and I see it and I'm just like, what the fuck? Because some of the shit in the files literally says that they were like making kids in like incubators under some like missile silo in the middle of like Nevada, where like the only way you can get access to it is basically impossible because another previously existing governor owns the land, and then Epstein bought the land from him inside of that, so it's just like completely untouchable, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like just like sci-fi levels of insanity, you know what I mean? Your mayor proved if politicians could, they would. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, if there's no checks and balances for, like, power, they're going to push things as far as they can, because they're just going through and be like, oh, fuck you, what can you do? You're too lazy and not strong enough. Okay. Then on the 7th, with the coast of Hispaniola in a haze of blue to our south, the cry came up. Sail ho! 2 points off the starboard bow! It was a Spanish merchantman, a plump navio. What the fuck is a navio? Navio. Oh, navio. Navio. With everything going on, I've gotten somewhat closer to God and returning to Catholicism now. There's no longer anything in the modern world that keeps me from wanting to be with God at this point. See that? Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, you kind of have to look inward and connect with yourself with something higher to protect you from the ever-presence of darkness all around us. And if there's any indication that the files have demonstrated to most people, is that like you kind of have to go into like smaller enclaves of community to really find a sense of identity anymore. When you yell for your stories, do you like move away from the mic, or how do you... Yeah, I move a little bit away from the mic, and since it's kind of like you kind of have to be pretty close to get the sensitivity of it. It like substantially dampens how loud it is by just being like a couple feet away. It was a Spanish merchantman, a plump navío of perhaps 200 tons, deep laden and laboring under a full press of canvas. The Orestes flew like a greyhound as we gave chase, and by early afternoon we had ranged up within hailing distance. Our gunner, the flame-haired Fenian O'Doherty. How do you say this fucking name, mate? O'Doherty. We're getting into the name game. O'Doherty. Okay. Fenian. What's a Fenian? The flame-haired Fenian. I feel like that's like slightly racist. Fenian. What? Fenian. How to say Fenian? I think it's Fenian. Fenian. Fenian? Make sure there's two pronunciations. Let's double check. Fenian. Fenian. Who fucking knows, mate? Our gunner, the flame-haired Fenian named O'Doherty. I don't know why, it's just not flowing in my head, really. I gotta hear it again. O'Doherty, okay. Jesus Christ. Joe, what did you do for the start of tour B-Day week? Yeah, we're on tour. We're in Cincinnati right now, and then we're going to Columbus, and then we're going all the way down to Memphis, and then back up to Philadelphia, of where we will light the whole town on fire whenever the Eagles win. Our gunner, the flame-haired Fenian named O'Doherty, fired a shot across her bows, yet still the Navio held her course. So we ran alongside her, closed the distance, then delivered a full broadside of round and grape. We watched her mizzen topmast come crashing down, and then her captain, wishing to further... Hey, Lynn, thank you for the 2. Finally made it to the hotel, halfway done. Oh, nice. Yeah, everybody wish Lynn some fortune here as they make their travels to another part of the world. Your husband has the same birthday? That's awesome. What is your husband? Is he quick-witted? Is he a writer of sorts? Is he funny? Is he just like me? For real, for real? Say your name. Silly goose. I think it's best for us to focus on you and the people that you love and get your money. Oh, and stay armed, because that's the only thing that keeps the chains metaphorical, not literal. Yeah, and I think the quicker you realize, too, that, like, you were pretty much just, like, inadvertently focusing on you anyways, instead of, like, turning your eyes constantly outward. It's just, like, genuinely too much for the individual point of perspective to absorb, you know what I mean? Like, there's just really no reason why one person has any even capability of contemplating all of the wiles of the world and Earth all at one time, because it's literally impossible to fix. And think about it. Think about every person you know that's like so hyper fixated upon geopolitics and trying to find like abstract solutions therein. A lot of them are some of like the most unpeaceful people you can ever come across. And the worst part is they're never going to fix it. They're going to post shit on social media. They're going to like say a few things, put their fist up, take a knee, and it just doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't matter because it's objectively, you know, if what you do doesn't really accomplish much of anything at all, even in the sense of raising awareness, like, is it any different than like farting in a jar and throwing it into the ocean? What's your Bitcoin price prediction for 2030? I'm going all in on whatever you say. I think it's going to keep climbing, right? Or do you have to like hope that one of the other shit coins are the one that takes over, like XRP? It seems like a lot of people think XRP is gonna pop the frick off. But anyways, I would just say keep buying slowly. Don't, don't go nutso. What are my thoughts on Aquariuses? I think they're so fucking cool. Not adequate justification for being lazy. Yeah, but literally posting your opinion about political stuff on social media is lazy. That's literally the definition of like performativeness. You know what I mean? How about silver price predictions? I don't know who is. I assume the banks are buying all that shit up to like hedge against the dollar in some weird way, hence why things are skyrocketing. I could be completely off base saying that. If everyone focused on themselves and being the best possible version of themselves, then the world would become a better place. It's a great point, you know what I mean? If we constantly could like look inwards a little bit and try to like self-reflect about communal narcissism is a fucking huge problem. Communal narcissism, can you like define that? Do you mean like the people posting on social media and doing their little rituals are the narcissists, or how do you mean? We have all established Aquarians are cool and indeed. Oh, good point. Armchair activism, yeah, that's like definitively one thing that occurs quite a bit that's, to me, not that impressive. Keep most of your opinions in your pocket. That's fair too, yeah. Hey, Dumba Nika. Thank you, Dumba Nika, for the $1. Very kind of you. It's our good friend of the show, Dumba Nika. It went to 120 per ounce earlier this week, back down to the mid-70s at the moment. Yeah, who knows? Maybe some big whales are just propping it up like a fucking meme coin. Really don't understand zodiacs or the beliefs surrounding it. Me neither, really, but like, I don't know. People apparently think that there's a lot of pattern recognition that you can find in people's personalities and like anticipating certain events and choices that people will make based on the star that they were born under. I mean, it seems like a lot of like people like Rockefeller and other abstract businessmen do seem to take it pretty seriously in a kind of, candid way, but I don't know. Can someone donate me $1,000? You just gotta sell your feet on the internet, brother. Who do you think the Zodiac Killer was? Was it the postman? The guy that worked in the post office or something? Probably connected to black magic. Yeah, I mean, there is definitively a pretty strong crossover between the astrology world and seemingly Wiccans and witches and all that kind of stuff, of which some, might argue is demoniac of sorts, but I don't know. It's the group hive mind that takes over in a lot of organizations. Oh, yes, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know. A lot of people's like political views to me are nothing more than performative. They are manners, like, what do you call it? It's like basically a sexual strategy for a lot of men, as sad as it is to say. But a lot of men's like, because like I am a man. I know what men are like. I know how they think. I know a lot of the times why they act the way that they do. And a lot of their political opinions is sometimes just to appeal to certain women because it's very counterintuitive to what you would anticipate their interests actually being. And so therefore, how can it be anything more than like fake or performative? And sometimes, a guy's desire for sex can be so incredibly powerful within their brain that they will literally like brainwash themselves into thinking that they believe what they believe solely for the sort of process of reproduction, as sad as that is to say. But not all the time, but it's always usually pretty simplistically easy to kind of pick out. And that's why I kind of like, and then I find it really strange too, because a lot of those same sort of performative males as well will like stand up for their political opinions by saying that like they'll get violent to like enact their political perspectives, which I find just like very strange. It's like, so you're performatively advocating for some sort of greater peace, but the manner in which you enforce it is through the same manner in which like men compete for mates, and that's through physical violence. Oh, how fucking interesting you are, that you're literally no different than your fucking dumb monkey ancestors. You know what I mean? It's just like, we see through your facade. Dumbanika with the 2 says, who do you think are the top families in the world? I don't know. I mean, people always point to the Rothschilds, right, as like the banking families and stuff, but then they talk about the 13 families, which then goes up to like the Vatican and then the Jesuits, and then the more you know, like the black nobility or whatever, yeah, the DuPonts, the Rockefeller, all that kind of shit. But there's some like weird Italian names that I don't know anything about. But honestly, so much shit goes back so far. There's been like families that have had like such grandiose amounts of wealth for so long, and like now, as you know, we exist in a time where people have so much money they can literally just like buy entire places, you know, like it seems like Greenland is being prepared for like Peter Thiel. It seems like Argentina is being prepared for characters like Peter Thiel. It seems like New Zealand is rolling out the red carpet for these individuals to just sort of like create their own autonomous governing bodies, you know, because they fancy themselves gods. And the same thing we talked about earlier about money being this like agreed upon like form of magic, magical spell that you just like use to like mobilize other humans. I mean, they truly have in many ways become some form of godlike being in the fact that they can just like accomplish all of that with a piece of green fucking paper, no different than a Pokemon card, you know what I mean? But you know, if that is the case, and it's been that way for a long time, how much easier would it have been over the course of, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years prior to the existence of even, you know, the communication of the internet to like, just, I don't know, make up history, just like influence what is considered history. Who knows, maybe there's aspects of history that are just completely blotted out that we're just like otherwise led astray on entirely. I mean, even like 100 years ago, you go back to like close to World War II, it's like we don't even know what the fuck is going on right now with the amount of like misinformation we get in real time. Who's to say that anything that happened in those times is like adequately communicated, if not through the same sort of hive mind process you described earlier, where it's like you just say a lie big enough for long enough, and eventually everybody just believes that. Now, it's so funny, we're always like so prepared to sit there and say that like, oh, the German government or the fucking Soviets or whatever are so good at propaganda and blah, blah, blah. But then for some reason, our own government are always the goodies, you know, that we're always the nice ones who never told a single lie to our people or ever committed a single false flag event to like accomplish or further extend or centralize power. And then at the same time, everybody is like, eat the rich, you know, on Jeff Bezos' ass, like, nonstop, right? You know, understandably so. But then for some reason, whenever you discuss, like, the same people that gave Jeff Bezos, like, loans to accomplish said tasks, it's like all of a sudden, like, whoa. Don't ask questions about the people that actually, like, dish out the money and, like, you know, literally control the movement and magical power of moving other humans and determining who gets to like play the game, pretty much, right? It just, I don't know, it just seems so strange to me that people's like cognitive dissonance is always so limited to like a very comfortable and comforting perspective. Raven Josephine White, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you. The Romans were doing the same thing thousands of years ago. The more things change, the more they stay the same, especially when it comes to the rich elite. I mean, who knows, dude? I mean, like, the continuation of all these governments, maybe these, like, certain empires rise up briefly, centralize control to a larger objective, and then they just, like, switch sides, you know, in the same way that someone like Peter Thiel doesn't really have, like, any sort of loyalty to the United States. He operates on an international level. Who's to say that in the same way these people that existed a long time ago were international individuals that influenced conflict over in this area, and then once that went to shit, they left and propped up another area to accomplish a goal, and then lifted them up until they extracted as much as they could from it, and just kept changing identities over and over and over again. Joe, America did nothing wrong and never has. We are the saviors of the world, and everyone must follow our example. Yes, I agree. Same with India, Israel, Russia, Germany, Japan, China. Nobody ever did a single bad thing ever, and never will. It's like Norm Macdonald said, it's a good thing the good guys won every time. Exactly. It's funny, I was actually watching Norm Macdonald earlier do that interview with some guy in Australia. It was pretty great. Dumbanika, thank you for the $1, bro. Which nostrils can you smell out of better? Let's see. Right now it's the right, but usually it's the left. I don't know. There's always like one that's a little clogged. Okay, sorry. We gotta make it through one story, huh? We watched her mizzen topmast come crashing down. Then her captain, wishing to prevent further bloodshed, struck his colors and begged for quarter. After boarding, the Spaniards stood about her deck with empty hands. Then their captain, a gentleman of perhaps 50 years, surrendered his sword to Captain Cutter with a bow, saying in good French that he placed his crew's lives in our honor. As according to the articles, we granted them mercy. Their wounded were dressed by our surgeon, and then after providing them water and provisions, we put the greater part of our prisoners ashore upon a small desert quay some leagues to the west. The prize proved rich. We found bales of indigo, 40 bars of silver, a chest of pieces of 8, and good stores of wine and olive oil. We brought the best of her cargo and provisions aboard the Orestes, and then set the Spaniard adrift with a small crew to make what way they could. That evening, upon the main deck and under the light of lanterns, we made a fair division of the spoils. The captain received 1 full share and a half, the officers 1 share and a quarter, with every other received 1 full and equal share. What remained after portioning what was set aside for the common chest... It's the one world government. Citizens are taught to believe countries are enemies. It's all political theater. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you join the military, like, isn't it kind of strange that unfortunately through the process of hierarchy, you have to go and, like, kill your brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? Like, it's of Earth, right? It's just, like, abstract and strange. I mean, even the fact that, like, there were days during World War I where they had, like, peace treaties and everybody came up and celebrated Christmas together and played a little bit of football, you know, it's just like... What? That in and of itself would have made me like abandon, you know, would have made me turn me into dessert, you know, made me sweet on them. But I don't know, apparently that's treasonous. That's a bad thing to say. Well, what's the one philosopher says, I'll have nothing of death but when death finds me. And that's how I feel. Like, I don't want to take anybody's life, and I don't get excited about when it happens elsewhere either. I think it's fucking weird. And I find some of the weirdest people to be the ones that, like, actually get very excited about military might. But then, like, internally in their own country, they also seem to operate within the basically designated propagandistic thinking that their government tells them to think domestically. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... It always seems really, really strange to me how they're just, like, so prone to hierarchical thinking. And maybe that's, once again, maybe a lot of people just enjoy the order of the world. The government gives them order. It gives them, it's basically modern religion. There's religion, you know, that's why religion is so prone to, like, getting hijacked, because once it's involved in the government, you can do terrible things with influencing people's spiritual beliefs and all that kind of stuff that they govern themselves. But I guess at the end of the day, with just how we sort of naturally are inclined. Is there a conspiracy theory you believe in, or just a hill you die on? You know, pretty much every conspiracy theory you could probably put in the chat right now, I'm, like, on board with. Like, I don't know if I believe in this flat earth stuff. I genuinely am more inclined towards, like, breakaway civilization type technology, like I imagine we have the ability to take ET home. But if like for some reason you zoomed out and all of a sudden I saw that we were just like some weird fucking petri dish floating around some abstract sense of reality, like the ending of a sci-fi episode, or you know, some sort of sci-fi episode, right? Twilight Zone. I wouldn't be surprised to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't fucking know what's going on. But that would be such a big lie to like maintain forever. And I don't think I've ever actually seen any sort of like solid evidence of flat Earth stuff. How you been, Big Dog? Hey, Hod Toward, how we doing, dude? I just remember one time going on like a missions trip, and this dude was so into flat Earth stuff, and I was like, but why? What about like NASA and all this kind of stuff? And he was just like, NASA, man, is a white man's lie. NASA is a white man's lie. And I'm just like, I guess I get where you're coming from. There's a lot of white man's lies, sure. But like, if that's your only argument, like, don't you even hear yourself speaking? What about the inner Earth theory? I ever had a video on like hollow Earth. I actually feel a little bit inclined towards the Earth maybe not being super molten as you go down, or maybe not necessarily not molten, but having a lot more like inner workings, obviously, than we might previously anticipate. I mean, it does sound like they have like entire cities and like deep underground bunkers existing underneath most people's feet without even realizing. I mean, in like a couple towns over from me, I'm fairly certain they have like mining areas where when you go down there to just like have a tour of the mines, they literally feel like entire cities right below your feet. Flat earthers haven't watched a fishing boat slowly disappear over the ocean. Nav lights first, then mast lights. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, I mean, my other friend, they think personally that flat earth theory is one of those conspiracy theories that they throw out there to muddy the waters, because, you know, if you can sit there and say, like, if you say something about a modern conspiracy theory, right? The first thing some, like, you know, low IQ retard is going to say to you is like, what, do you believe in flat earth theory? You know, just to like negate your point or whatever, you know. And to me, I feel like that maybe flat earth is just like a psychological operation specifically to effectively shut down conversation, in the same way that the word conspiracy theorist was generated by the CIA to make it so that you can't have any conversation pertaining to questioning anything, whether it's fucking aliens or JFK or 9/11 or whatever, you know. Besides the originals, I always thought the 90s one with the Jonathan Davies from Korn was cool. What are you talking about? Hey bro, just saw the Backrooms movie. Good to watch while on shrooms. Yeah, I imagine it's pretty freaky. Flat earth theory is just the tip of the iceberg, yeah. Flat pancake butt theory. The earth is flat and you dumb fucks need to wake up. Think about this. Why are rainbows curved? They are dome-shaped because they take the shape of whatever they reflect off of. We're in a dome. I mean, okay, I'm not, I mean, it's... You used a little rude language there, but I'm going to entertain this thought because I'm not a mean guy. Why are rainbows curved? Rainbows are curved because they're really part of a circle. Sunlight enters millions of tiny raindrops, bends, reflects inside the drop, then bends again as it leaves. For the colors to reach your eyes, the light has to come out of a very specific angle, about 42 degrees of red light, a bit less for violet, so every raindrop that sends rainbow-colored light to your eye is positioned along the surface of an invisible cone, with your eye at the tip and the sun behind you. Where the cone meets the curtain of rain, you see an arc. We usually only see the top half because the ground blocks the rest. From an airplane or high mountain, you can sometimes see a rainbow as a full circle. Oh, that's cool. Seeing the full circle of a rainbow from a high perspective would be neat. So the simple version, rainbows are curved because the light reaches your eyes at a fixed angle from countless round raindrops, forming a circular arc. Now you have to take back the mean thing you said. No, I'm not. Once again, I'm not saying that we're... Well, I don't even know. I have no idea what I'm saying. Flat Earth theory is just... Yeah, right. Would you do any more Glitch in the Matrix here? Yeah, definitely at some point. Faux show. Smiling Friends showed the Earth is flat when they went up to space. Come on, oh, that's it. Yeah, see, that's what I think would have happened to me. Do I like puzzles? You should do an escape room with your friends. I did do an escape room, but I found it kind of annoying having to like coordinate with a group of other people. It was like just, you know what I mean? Like it's like they're so into it, but to the point where they like have anxiety as they do it. I'm like, guys, this is a fucking game. But yeah, I love puzzlers. My friend calls them puzzlers. The video games that I play, like single-player puzzle platform games or just puzzle games in general. I really enjoy single-player puzzle games. As long as there's cheese at the end. Hey, Michael NC. Good to see you, bro. Thank you. What remained after portioning was set aside for the common chest, to provide for the wounded, the widows, and such necessities as powder and shot. The company was in high spirits, and many a toast was drunk to the arrestees, to fortune, and the brethren of... Okay, we'll do that again. The company was in high spirits, and many a toast was drunk to the arrestees, to fortune, and to the brethren of the coast. Yet it came to pass that my first successful venture would also be my last. We returned to Nassau, and after unloading our prize, descending upon the 3 tons... Can I read a book? White people love cheese. You know who really loves cheese? Mice. Mice love cheese, especially after solving a little bit of a puzzle, or going through a little bit of a maze. We returned to Nassau, and after unloading our prize, descended upon the 3 Tons Tavern in High Feather. Many a buxom wench... A buxom wench. Holy fuck, that is the greatest terminology I had ever seen. I'm going to copy-paste that into chat, just so you can read that to yourselves. A buxom wench. That's going to be my new Xbox Live name. Okay, anyways. Did you know a female mouse is called a doe? I didn't know that. Is that true? I feel like it would be called like a squim. A screw. A squee. Why does this feel like deja vu, bro? This is like every stream is deja vu. We returned to Nassau, and after unloading our prize, descended upon the 3 Tons Tavern in High Feather. Many a buxom wench was spun about the floor, and the crew were in fine voice, their songs near drowning out the fiddler as punch and rum flowed like water. We drank to Spanish gold, the Orestes, and the health of every man aboard her, and for several days the tavern knew no rest. My shares allowed me and my shipmates to live most comfortably for a time. I took a clean room above a merchant's house, purchased new clothing of good linen, and took meat at every meal. For nearly 2 months we lived free from the press of want. Yet when the last coins were spent and credit grew short, restlessness returned, and men began whispering of even greater prizes to be taken. One bright morning in early June, Captain Cutter summoned his crews. Then, standing upon the quarterdeck, he spoke plainly. He'd word of a hulk, Portuguese in origin, carrying more gold than any man among us could spend in a lifetime. When he asked if we were ready to take it, a great shout answered him. Then, within 2 days, we weighed anchor and out to sea once more. We made our first. 70% of humans are technically lactose intolerant. Right, because I think the only ones that developed it were... their populations were heavily... adapted to the usage of cow's milk, which then if you look at the, percentage of the populations in general on Earth, you might find that that smaller population is the one most using of cow's milk over a long period of time.
But unfortunately, 70% of humans are missing out on delicious peanut butter ice cream.
I'm on PSD, so I usually catch your lives after they're over. I fell asleep the first half, so I don't even get past the 10 minutes before you start reading stories. Thanks for helping me calm my mind. Yeah, no worries, Doe. Good to see you. Just like mice, like no fish is fish in plural. You're not lactose intolerant, you're just eating bad cheese. Oh, that's a good point, too. Maybe you could, like, have lactase or something before you eat. So you have the appropriate, like, enzymes to break down the lactose or whatever. If anybody can understand or see that we're all living under a dome or firmament, then you're spiritually lost and blind and you need to wake up. Hope you find God. Christ is King. But I mean, does the Bible even say that the earth is flat or anything like that? Or is it just like heavily implied? So there's some truth to the white people loving cheese thing. I guess it would make sense because I'm pretty sure it would be like the Nordic people that probably would be most... Well, let's actually check. Which group of humans are most capable of digesting milk products? The humans most capable of digesting milk products into adulthood are populations with high rates of lactase persistence, meaning they keep producing the enzyme lactase after childhood. The highest rates are genetically found among northern and northwestern Europeans, some pastoralist African groups, certain milk-drinking herding groups in East Africa, the Sahel. Parts of North Africa also have high lactose tolerance, but through partly different genetic mutations than Europeans. Example often discussed include groups like the Fulani or the Nilotic/East African pastoralists and other cattle or camel herding populations. Some Middle Eastern and Central South Asian pastoralist populations. Lactase persistence also appears in some historically milk-reliant groups in the Middle East, Central Asia, and Northwestern South Asia, though rates vary a lot by region and group. The lowest rates are generally found in many East Asian, Indigenous American, and some non-pastoralist African populations where adult lactose intolerance is much more. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? The Bible calls them vaults to separate earth and sky. Even that is like super like direct to like a one-to-one, communication of what that person was saying about some firmament. I don't really understand. Anyways, we made first for Trinidad, where we took on water, then after 5 days in harbor we set sail again, turning southward along the main. For nearly 10 days we hunted, cruising the coast in patient search. Then at dawn on the 3rd day of July, there she was, a great lumbering Portuguese carrack, lay low with gold. Is this carrack? I don't even know. Who knows? Who frickin' knows, mate? Carrack. Taking into account these countries drink unpasteurized milk and cheese. I have heard, yeah, it's easier to digest, milk if it's like raw milk and stuff. Obviously, you gotta make sure your source is not gonna be like some fucking random place that people get sick at or whatever. Fermented shark. Oh, God. Oh, God. One of you lucky viewers will get some fermented shark by the end of the stream. Okay. For nearly 10 days we hunted, cruising the coast in patient search. Then at dawn on the 3rd of July, there she was, a great lumbering Portuguese carrack, lay low with gold and sailing alone. For 2 days and night we pursued her down the coast, passing the Dutch colonies of Essequibo. How do we say this? Esquibo Barbis or some Esquibo verbis. Esquibo verbis. Bible just a book of what's going to happen. They tell you to push the narrative to lessen the karma that's going to happen. You know, I've heard about that, like karmic retribution or whatever, and like that's what worries me a little bit in like my contemplation of reality, because most of like reality I had attempted to make sense of within the context of like biblical narratives growing up, and I still do to a certain subconscious level, mostly out of like fear but also out of hope. And I'll be honest with you, there is a part of me that worries, because it seems like they're trying right now to kind of like falsify an end times, you know what I mean, in like a forced theater, that what if there is some type of like alien beings, whether they're reptilian, insectoid, gray, alien, Nordic, whatever the fuck, but they're all like basically have created and, you know, through long periods of time generated the narratives of the Abrahamic religions that we believe in, and basically are falsifying these senses of end times solely to kind of like keep us in line, since, you know, religion does kind of have a control over the masses to a large degree. The Bible is literally a magical grimoire, and it's real and it's raw spiritual knowledge. I guess so, I don't know. I think the amount of pus and blood from overworked udders getting into the milk erases any desire I might have for raw milk. That's a good point, that's a good point. After all the videos that the government has released, I believe it makes sense that aliens exist. Yeah, but I mean, like, why do you trust the government so much? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, got to be such, like, for me, it's such a weird experience, because like I'm so used to distrusting the government at this point, based on the things that have happened in the past, that essentially it's like living with a captor, but that captor is basically filling your head with what is considered the truth, you know. And I cannot in my mind imagine that they're telling us any of this shit, if not to like prepare us basically through some type of karmic retribution, or just like general, you know, what do you call it, just propaganda to get us ready for some type of fucking false alien bullshit. Because they, you know, long ago, whether it was with the Germans in World War II or in Roswell in 1947, whether that story is true or not, they have already had contact with these interdimensional space alien beings, or ones from Galapagos 6 or whatever, and maybe they're time travelers, maybe they're us from the future, maybe they're demons, I don't fucking know. But it seems as though if we have technology within our government that's so far beyond comprehension that you would basically be able to just, through anticipation of events and planning and technological prowess, basically have a reality that is theater solely through power. And the way we experience this reality is exactly that, like watching a fucking TV show. And the second that you know, have the wool taken off of your eyes and you realize that it feels like a Truman Show type scenario, like the Matrix, like the whatever, whenever the government comes out and says, guys, there's aliens, it's like, how many times are you going to fall for the exact same fucking carrot on a stick bullshit, you know? The government got reset during the Gilded Age to listen to people and give false hope, but still do what they want and manipulate mankind. To listen to people and give false hope, but still do what they want and manipulate. Oh, you think like aliens showed up during the Gilded Age to like start manipulating everything? You think Area 51 is hiding aliens? I mean, this probably has like, it sounds like Area 51 is mainly just futuristic aerial flight tech, right? But at the same time, if it did come from downed alien spacecrafts that we like reverse engineered, then that would make sense that it kind of has a bit of a Venn diagram there. Where the alien incident in the Miami Mall, whatever came of that. I don't think anything came of it, but it was fascinating that it seemed like they had, for as many people who were there with phones and all the teenagers that they said were present, you think it would, like, all of that shit would have made it to social media, but the fact that we know that the Pentagon has a backdoor to almost every social media website possible, all they would have to do is use AI and like some type of metadata to basically find any indication of a video present that matches that area, you know what I mean? Whether they're like doing location tracking based on the thing and blah, you know what I mean? And that you could just delete everything, right? And then some people said that the coordinates, I think one of you guys told me this, the coordinates of the Miami Mall actually like kind of crosses with the opposing side of Earth, which is like a point in Antarctica, and that basically these sort of beings were trying to get to Antarctica, and then they just took a wrong turn at Albuquerque and then ended up in some sort of like phased in aspect of reality wandering around fucking Florida, bro. Like that, if that scene, bro, if that exact scene is not in the next Grand Theft Auto, I don't want to fucking play it. I don't want to play it. It needs to fucking happen. If aliens do make public contact with us, do you think people on X and YouTube and other apps will go crazy that a spike of views will appear and they'll start making memes and so on? Yeah, I mean, we're not going to take it seriously at all. I mean, everybody's still got to pay their bills and jerk off and whatever. Like, people are still going to go to, like, fucking church retreats and stuff, whether aliens are there or not. Like, everyone's just so desensitized. I mean, we literally are all just, like, NPCs who just are dumbed down from stuffed crust. Is GTA 6 going to be based in Miami? I thought it was Tampa. This is a good question. Since AI was invented, I don't believe much of what I see anymore. I mean, that's fair too. I have a physics A level paper later today and I can't sleep, so hopefully this stream sub wish me luck. Good luck, friend. Get some sleep. Most important thing in the world. Okay, how do I say these places again? Berbice. Esquibo. Okay. For 2 days and a night we pursued her down the coast, passing the Dutch colonies of Esquibo and Berbice. The arrestees gained steadily, and by nightfall of the second day, we could see our prey's stern lanterns burn. The arrestees gained steadily, and by nightfall of the second day, we could see our prey's stern lanterns burning ahead of us. Victory seemed certain. Then, as if by witchcraft, a thick bank of mist suddenly rose from the sea, and the Portuguese vanished into the vapor. We pressed on, but within mere minutes, we could scarce see our own bowsprit. Bowsprit? What the fuck is a bowsprit? Esquibo, Esquibo. Bowsprit. A spar extended forward from a ship's box to which the forestays are fastened. Oh, that like huge thing in the like nose on the front of a ship that is like a big wiener. But what if AI was given to us in order to make us not believe anything we see on screen? Yeah, I think that makes sense too. I mean, I think all of it makes total sense, honestly. And it will be, every time you think these thoughts into reality, you basically are giving the people that control you more power, because you've put it out into the universe and now they will be using it against you. GTA 6 has been hyped so hard that I honestly don't think it can live up to the hype at this point. It definitely can't. I mean, all I really need is the gameplay to be like a little bit better than Red Dead 2, the graphics to be better than Red Dead 2, which we have seen the graphics look really good. And this is a big one for me, but I need the story to be as rude and offensive as all the previous Grand Theft Autos combined. I need it to be funny. I need it to be funny. If it's not funny, if it's some fucking stupid bullshit where they're worried about upsetting like one idiot on the internet, then why waste our time? And at that point, it might I might not waste my time. What are your thoughts on intrusions, like back when the TVs were hacked? There's a movie I've been looking for, creepy as fuck. Back when the TVs were hacked, there's a movie I've been looking for, intrusion. Oh, you mean, what's intrusions? Like them suddenly being like, we interrupt this program or something. Joe, you could show Jim Guy your tattoo, he'll get that message. That's probably what he's staring at every time I like do like a hamstring curl where I'm laying flat, my like whole asshole's hanging out, and he sees my tat. He sees the big X marks the spot with a Jolly Roger saying, booty found here. Seems like it's going to be more romantic. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, like I wasn't a huge fan of like Arthur Morgan on the initial go of like Red Dead 2, but he grew on me. And in the same way, I feel like I might not be, like from the trailer, not super stoked about the main characters of GTA 6. but I'm sure they'll grow on me as well. As long as they're not annoying, you know, as long as they're like, and most of, you know, as long as they're like interesting, I guess. I don't know. Rockstar tries to offend GI play Manhunt and die and hear those things they call you as you get stopped. I mean, sure, yeah, but that was fucking, what, 2003 or some shit? So, like, we all know that time changes everything, and the development period was, like, very heavily during, like, the most, quote-unquote, wokest eras of, like, politics. So, you know, and we know that's heavily infiltrated into all of, like, you know, fucking the video game realm and entertainment and all that kind of stuff, heavily tied to the ESG scores. So it's we'll see what happens, man. But I think we exist in a time now where if they wanted to be as rude and offensive as possible, no one's going to stop them. Like, at this point, the only reason that people even feel empowered by, like, a lot of those, like, opinions a lot of the times and are some of the most insufferable people ever is solely because the social media sites enforced it and would ban any opposing opinion that would, like, basically counteract theirs. And now we exist in a time in which, like, it seems that there is a free flowing of back and forth. So, like, the, you know, free market of ideas, as they say, can exist, and you can say things, whatever, and especially something as large and as, like, profitable as, like, GTA. Like, I mean, even if, like, I can't imagine, like, enough of them would, like, even give a fuck and boycott it, because it's still gonna just, like, make billions. There's so much false security inside technology, it's sickening. Yeah. Cassandra, hi Joel, hope your night's going well. I've missed the last couple of... No worries, Cassandra, good to see you. I think our world is way crazier than we think, but nothing like what we've been told. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of have to just be thankful that you exist in a modern day where you have fucking DoorDash instead of having to, like, do anything to actually, like, survive. Like, you know, who knows, maybe that's by design, so that we're just, like, never in a position of feeling emboldened to, like, fight back, right? Just because, I mean, if you really think about what it means to be a modern human, your days are boring, your days are lazy, your days are unexciting. You essentially are just like a passive observer in this world, watching your social media shit, watching the TV, watching shows, listening to other people's opinions, and just kind of, like, going along with it like some, you know, follower. And that's kind of a blessing in many ways, to just sort of, like, have it all curated for you. But it also really, like, means that basically anything that you dislike about it is never going to change, because you're never actually, like, uncomfortable. Hey Lady Jane, good to see you. Just don't think about it. There you go. You're an NPC, basically. I honestly do agree that I am an NPC, even though I think a lot and think inside my head. I don't do a lot to, like, impact the world outside of pretty much my YouTube channel and, like, helping some people here and there. Out of the millions of kids my dad pushed out, I had to be the one asshole to win and be born. Well, I don't know. You just gotta find something that you like to do. Probably go to the gym to start, and then once you feel good with that, then you can, you know, do, like, art or some shit. You're waiting for Chris's return. Jesus, Chris. Very important question. Should I go Korean chicken and pizza or ramen and french fries today? Korean chicken and pizza? That is a lot of fucking food. Ramen and french fries. I feel like those don't go together at all. Chicken and ramen would be more ideal, right? A true NPC doesn't think at all, though. Well, that's the thing, is that you can never fully appreciate the interior dialogue of an NPC, right? Because, I mean, I guess you're right, by the definition of it existing within, like, the simulated world, that's maybe a possibility. And who knows, maybe there are people around you that truly are not anything more than just, like, you know, false lines of code. I don't want to say that, though, to negate anybody, but at the end of the day, you also can't really, like, get in somebody's head to truly label them as a direct NPC. Or the cheat codes. I think it's called, like, lending money. Dude, if I'm an NPC, I need to figure out the infinite money glitch. Exactly. Hey, there you go. Start a bank. Find yourself $10 million and start yourself a bank. I do cybersecurity, and does the gym actually work? I'm 6'4", 233. What's the best workout? Yeah, 4 days a week. Get in there and do what's called, like, a Arnold split with some cardio, like, every day, you know, and you'll feel better about life. I mean, I would suggest for the first like month, if you can afford it, to work with a personal trainer, just so you know, so they can make you a program and you can know how to do the workouts. But beyond that, if the whole goal is to like be independent and do your diet, do all that shit, like you'll learn quick and you're gonna love it. You'll love the routine, especially if you're somebody who enjoys the same shit all the time. I thought you were AI voiced over. Thankfully not. Thankfully not. We pressed on, but within mere minutes, we could scarce see our own bowsprit. The arrestees plunged blindly into the fog, yet the great Portuguese had disappeared completely, as if the fog itself had swallowed her. Every man was at his station, the guns loaded with shot, but the lookouts strained their eyes to no avail. The fog lay us with a damp shroud, deadening all sound and bewildering our senses. We steered by compass alone, hoping to cut our prize off, when suddenly came a great rushing of water somewhere ahead. The sound had yet to fade when there arose the muffled cries of men in mortal terror. These lasted but a few moments, but long enough to chill the blood. We had not yet discerned the cause of the screams when, some 100 yards off our port side, there came another violent rush of water. Yet we spied neither hull nor sail, only foaming disturbance. The crew looked to each other, ashen-faced, before one of the powder monkeys gave a strangled cry from the stern. Something was behind us in the fog, something dark and vast. We rushed to look, and there, looming dimly through the mist, some 2 or 3 cables behind, was a shape far larger than our own humble sloop, with what appeared to be towering mass. The captain, believing it to be a Portuguese. Hey, Kathy Evans, how we doing? What's up, Lucas Casto? When the government collapsed, do they do it on purpose to charge more? Yeah, I mean, it like the 2008 market crash, right? I mean, a lot of that was essentially anticipated and planned, and then coincidentally, like, what does the government do? It transfers wealth through the process of like printing a large amount of money to bail out banks and various other industries, and basically makes you as the middle class person's like dollar less capable of buying things, and transfers that wealth to the ultra wealthy or various subsidiaries of the government and all that kind of stuff. And that's what they did during COVID. It's what they do all the fucking time through their quantitative easing process. Like, it's just inflation. Inflation is just constantly kicking the can down the road while also like slowly transferring capital to further and further centralized entities, I guess you could say. I'm getting to the point to just wanting to eat the steak again. Yeah, have some steak if you can get some from a butcher or something. Learn about Bitcoin, crypto if you don't know anything about it. I mean, that's definitely going to be the future, is this weird, like, sort of tokenization of everything. At least it seems that way. Trippin' This Ain't an AI dude can make dough voice acting. I would like to, man. It'd be cool. But I'll be honest with you, make more money doing independent stuff like running a podcast and YouTube channel than you would. Like, dude, when I found out that the main actor of Goku, that cool guy with the leather jacket, I forget his name. When I found out that he made $80K a year, which is nothing to squawk home about, nothing to stick your nose up to. But when you think about how expensive it is to live in LA, and you think about like the realm of entertainment, and you would think that their like general net worth would be like well beyond that for like how incredibly popular they are. But to only make like $80,000 playing one of the most iconic characters of all time within the realm of anime, I was a little bit disheartened. I might be incorrect about his overall net worth, but that's what I saw, and kind of made me think, you know what, fuck that shit. Do you sell anything on Etsy? No, but I buy like custom Pokemon cards on Etsy. I think it's pretty fun. The notion of simulation shouldn't be confined to the association of computer code. I mean, when people say that reality is a simulation, all it is an analogy, right? You're creating an analogy, and what has been done before? We create analogies through God. We create analogies in metaphors through reality as a life is a story that's just not written yet, right? So it's like, to sit here and pretend we have this like modern interpretation of what reality really is by saying it's a simulation, like, sure, there are going to be things that have like a one-to-one correlation to what computers are described and discussed as, but it's really no different than everything that people have, in the past and antiquity have described reality as being as well. But he's voicing the American version. The Japanese versions is voiced by a woman who's probably made a lot more based on currency computing. Yeah, you just have to learn Japanese and move over there and become a voice actor. Let me ask you this. Are podcasts and YouTube videos lucrative? If so, would you jump on voice acting? Podcasting and YouTube videos are very lucrative if you can make it happen, right? I'm very thankful for what I do. I do well, and I'm infinitely thankful it worked out. I've tried voice acting, but the thing about voice acting is, from what I hear, it's very much like feast or famine. So say you can land a role that's continual, like One Piece or Genshin Impact, or you know what I mean? Like, you basically have to do so much, and you have to have so many qualifications, all this kind of stuff, and then you also have to have a lot of experience, and then guess what? You also have to be really fucking lucky. You have to be good at networking. You have to somehow like meet the exact right people. They have to like you, you know what I mean? The casting directors and all that kind of stuff. And then they need to, fucking bring you on for further and further work. And so the point is that like the amount of steps that it takes to be a successful voice actor, to be, the guy who voices Wolverine, I forget his name, but you know what I mean? And the payoff from that is so much different than just like being some random schmuck who starts a YouTube channel where you talk about people getting their head cut off, and then that women listen to while they do their makeup in the morning or drive to their shitty nursing job. And then it's just you in front of a fucking green screen. Like, the amount of effort that takes and the amount of money that you can make from it is so much more than the amount of like steps necessary to be an anime dude, which at the end of the day, like, at the anime people, like, they make money, they gotta like sell courses, and then they gotta go to like different shows to sign autographs and all this like bullshit. And it's just, it might be fun to a degree, but it's certainly not all it's like hyped up to be. That's exactly how your major friends became voice actors. Well, that's been my biggest difficulty, is like, I just don't know how to like put myself in the right position to meet the right people, to like get an agent that actually gets me jobs and blah, 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 And then all of that to become a voice actor on an anime, and then all you end up having is a bunch of like anime schnobs who are like, dude, don't listen to the fucking dubs, you gotta listen to the subs. Only listen to subs, man. It's like, I guarantee you probably talk to like any Japanese person who's actually going to speak their mind, and they probably will say that the Japanese dubs for them is just as cringe as we think the, English dubs over here are. What does ASMR stand for? It stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, which is just a long scientific word to describe getting tingles when you listen to shit, feeling a little twiddly in your diddly. YouTube can pull the rug out from underneath you at any point too. I'd be scared to invest the effort. That's a great point, because I literally have had a lot of friends within this like narrator space, and they have 20,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers, and then they made like, okay, so like, we'll just hypothetically say like a random channel that has 50,000 subscribers, and gets 200,000 views a month on YouTube, hypothetically makes like X amount of money. But it's an amount of money that's actually really good, and like lets them, based on their day job, like have money for groceries, have money to pay rent, various other things. It just helps to supplement their lifestyle. And then all of a sudden YouTube comes out of nowhere and says, based on some arbitrary thing, that this is not, unique enough or whatever, and they get demonetized. How YouTube is doing that and not loosely afraid to some extent of getting sued again by the state of California or the FCC or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know how they're not. Like, there is 100% some lawyer somewhere fucking chomping at the bit to create some type of class action lawsuit where they can pull out X percentage of the amount of money that they pay out to like YouTube creators down the line for, you know what I mean? Like, they have too much money. That's true, but I mean, like, still, is like the lawsuit that's coming down the line worth as much as the amount of money that you pull from these small creators? I don't know, honestly. I generally don't know if you want the hassle. Random question because I just listened to the music, but have you heard of the band Pinback? I've not. But I have heard of the band Boards of Canada, which has a new album out right now. And can I say something, and this is not to be mean or anything like that? So Boards of Canada, they're kind of like an abstract electronic music group. And it had been forever since they made an album back in 2013. Like prior to 2013, it had been a long time since they had done an album. And then their album Tomorrow's Harvest came out, and though it did grow on me over time a little bit to some of the tracks, it was nowhere near like any of the fun that I had with like Gio Gotti and Music Has the Right to Children and things like that. And then now this new album comes out, it's called Inferno. It's been another like 13 years since 2013, and once again, it's just like, what I would describe it is that some of the best songs that Boards of Canada made, yeah, like Everything You Do Is a Balloon or Roy G. Biv or Dave Van Cowboy, it had melody, it had rhythm, it had all of the musical components that make songs generally fun and entertaining, with an intermixing of like musical, you know, like ambient synths and different textures and all that kind of stuff. It had pop. Exactly. And then, I don't know. We're like, it's almost like they're going backwards and only doing the textures. And to me, it just doesn't feel experimental enough for me to really care that much. And it's not to put them down or anything, because I think they're fantastic overall. But I'm just like, really? 13 fucking years and you didn't even make like, I don't know, some cool, maybe they're just not into beats anymore. But I mean, like, in my mind, I kind of just feel like you gotta go, like, you gotta like have at least seven tracks interdispersed between the 13 to 20 that they might have, that are just like solid, technical, rhythmic songs. At least part of the track, you know what I mean? I was so confused at Boards of Canada for so long. I thought it was a compilation of EDM across Canada, not a group. Yeah, I think it's two guys from Scotland or something. You gotta listen at least 5 times before it starts hitting. Exactly. 5 hits of acid, 5 listens. 5 for 5. Reminds me of what happened to the Homeworld franchise. 20 years of waiting for a sequel in the last game. Yeah, I don't know. It's just how it goes anymore. It's so hard to live up to hype, I guess. The captain, believing it to be a Portuguese man of war of the first rate, ordered all hands to the brace, and we fled the fog as if pursued by the devil himself. Every scrap of sail was set, and the Orestes leapt forward as we clawed our way out of the mist. The company stood to the guns, expecting a broadside at any moment. Yet we were spared. When at last we departed the fog, the sea around us lay empty. No man of war, no golden-laden carrack, no sail of any kind in pursuit, only the gentle swell of the deep blue sea and our own foaming wake. We scanned the misty bank astern for a full hour, yet the great shape had vanished as utterly as the prize we'd once pursued, and thus fell upon the crew a deep unease. Some spoke of phantom ships, others of God's wrath, which fell upon those who plundered the Catholic fleets. Joel knew how to run his mouth in a good way. That's true. I'm trying to avoid getting shot. Rolling up on your ops and saying, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I'd like to give you some constructive criticism." And then they just like shoot me in the head 50 times. How did you develop your tone and pace and voice for the videos? It took some time, but I remember there was like one time I kind of like when I was like, hello, hello, and then all of a sudden was like, I'm scary. I am scary. Which I'm sure was influenced heavily by just like various people within the creepypasta community in general and my interpretation of what it means to be spooky. But I remember I actually borrowed a little bit of a pacing from B. Busta, surprisingly, and I just found like his intonation and pacing felt very natural when I was like replicate it in my, like when I would replicate it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna try this a little bit. Matthew Shepard, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Matthew. Joel, what's the highest number of people in live chat since 2026? Dude, it just sucks because I said I was starting streams earlier, and me making that announcement and then starting a little bit earlier caused one fucking stream after doing that. Like right now I would normally be at like 100 more people than we are currently at, and then climbing, right, to maybe 465, 470. But it's like anytime I've ever changed anything on this channel related to my live streams, it just like automatically gets punished. And I don't know what it is about YouTube, but it just like anything you change and any reaction from the audience, it's like automatically punished within the notification systems. And it's really, really upsetting because I don't know, I would love to have like a nice like 1-to-1 anticipated ratio of who gets notified, but it's just, I fucking don't know. It just is what it is. "13 years since 2003, there's got to be something to that. That's my favorite number." That's a good point. What mic do I use? Oh yeah, the one you're hearing me right now is a Neumann TLM 103, but I record into an H4n Pro. Do I eat rubber now? You and Corpse Husband were still my favorite storytellers on YouTube. Do you listen to Corpse Husband's videos still? Doesn't it get like old, like listening to the same stories and stuff? Give you your best Joel from you. I don't really know Joel's voice. And I feel like it doesn't match like his face. Some spoke of phantom ships, others of God's wrath, which fell upon those who plundered the Catholic fleets. Captain Cutter cursed the fog and the Portuguese alike, but could not hide his troubled look. Whatever had passed in that great white veil had stolen our prize and left fear in its place. With heavy hearts and unquiet minds, we shaped a course northward, yet scarcely had we shaken the memory of the fog when a new and far more terrible affliction was visited upon us. While the company was at dinner, a previously steady foremast man named Obadiah Doggett Obadiah Dogface. Obadiah Dogface. Obadiah. Corpse Husband's music is secret guilty pleasure. Does he still make songs? Because did he ever make like a full like album or EP or anything like that, or was it just like a series of like 2-minute singles? I never really understood his like approach to music, but it seemed like it always worked, you know? He was like, I'll be honest with you, Corpse Husband was the absolute master of scarcity. If you're familiar with like the concept of like scarcity within like an economic market, Corpse was the fucking G at that. Like he knew that if he just like put out one video every fucking 6 months, people be creaming their fucking pants to it, getting the e-girls wet, and then he was like on to the next thing. You know what I mean? It was like, how can I talk to a bunch of fucking like Twitch streamers and convince them to let me be their friend or whatever, and then like get to be in their big pop-off game or whatever, you know? And then from there he leveraged that to his music and then released like one song every 10 years, and then I was like, this guy knows what he's fucking doing. You're out? No worries, buddy. See you later. While the company was at dinner, a previous steady foremast man named Obadiah Doggett fell suddenly into frenzy. With wild eyes, he seized the ship's lucky cockerel. God damn it, Bobby. I can't read for shit. Cockerel. Suck my cocky roll. Oops. A young rooster. The sun rises and the cockerel crows. Just dropping this one out there. Patron Exo Cafe Coffee Tequila. That's what you drink right before bodybuilding shows. Do I have a Crunchyroll subscription? I don't think so anymore. I briefly did, but I don't watch enough anime. With wild eyes, he seized the ship's lucky cockerel and bit clean through its neck. His shipmates rushed to restrain him as he drank the spurting blood like a beast, and then he turned upon them also. In the struggle, he took a knife from a man's belt and drove it straight through the heart of the carpenter's mate. The master, drawn to the sound of the struggle, produced his pistol quick as lightning and shot Doggett through the head. Both corpses were committed to the sea without... Okay, I probably should have waited a little bit before I moved right to the next. It's like a pausing scene. Switch of the scenes. Which fish is best, by the way? I don't know. Did you ever see, like, how many parasites exist within a salmon? And that, like, because bears eat so much salmon, because salmon has so many parasites that, like, bears have, like, these worms that like crawl out of their asshole to the point that it looks like fucking spaghetti crawling out of their butt. And hence why like you have to be really careful with bear meat because there's a ton of fucking parasites in the bear meat. Pretty gross. Pretty fucking gross. Wouldn't that be funny if like you found out that if you just got rid of the parasites, bears were actually really nice to people? The master, drawn to the sound of the struggle, produced his pistol quick as lightning and shot Doggett through the head. Both corpses were committed to the sea without ceremony, lest Doggett's madness linger among us. But that same night, Middle Watch discovered little Johnny Gibbons, the powder monkey, standing upon the larboard rail and staring down into the water. When challenged, the lad claimed that he could hear his mother calling to him from deep beneath the waves, clear as crystal glass. The watchman tried to coax him down, speaking of tricks of the sea, but before aid could arrive, Gibbons seized a 9-pound shot, clutched it to his breast, and leapt into the waters below. We only heard the splash, and then Gibbons was gone. We prayed for the boy's soul. So what's your vocal chain look like these days? Any plugins, EQs, etc.? So yeah, like I record into the H4n raw, right? Straight up raw dogging it. And then I edit that together into one big WAV file in Sony Vegas. And then I take that over to Audacity where I remove the background noise. And then I upload that MP3 over to Patreon. And then I take that MP3 and I bring it back over to a different version of Sony Vegas, which has like the, you know, video formatting that I use, and then plug that in and edit that together a little bit. And then I render it, and then I put it into a program called Handbrake to like compress it and like make it so it uploads to YouTube appropriately based on the formatting. And then that is complicated as fuck. It sounds like it, but it's not that bad, you know, once you do it a million times. But yeah, there's not really any like crazy EQ like settings I have or anything on anything. You would have to ask Inect or my sound guy for the podcast, because he actually puts my previous audio through like a little bit of like different EQ stuff or whatever to make it sound really pretty for the podcast. I have a bad habit of listening to scary stories while I work late night delivering orders. It's all good. Thank you for delivering my pizza. Unfortunately, I have to rob you. We prayed for the poor boy's soul the following day, asking God for a reprieve. Yet in time, the horror only deepened. Our quartermaster began gasping, seized with a sudden choking fit, and claimed he could not breathe. Then as our surgeon attended him, the man snatched a sharpened lancet and began furiously cutting his own throat. We endeavored to save the man's life, but he died before our eyes in great turmoil, steeping in his own blood. The surgeon, a man of considerable learning, though of most peculiar humor, the surgeon. I listen to Joel for scientific reasons. Houston, a music note, pun intended. Mickey Avalon was the artist that was the most off the wall in my opinion. His albums just made no sense, and some of his songs were just wild. If you see me and a bear fighting in the woods, help the bear. It's wild that pizza delivery men get murdered for less than $20. Yeah, it makes me really sad actually to think like that someone will literally kill you to get like crack money. You know what I mean? Like it's weird to think that if they came up to you and just asked you for the $20 nicely, that you probably would be just as likely to give it to them. Wait, that was Mickey Avalon, my dick bigger than a bridge. Yo dick look like a little kid's. Bigger than a bridge. Sounds like a bong. No, it's my Stanley mug, everybody. Have you seen my Stanley mug? I got a big straw that goes all the way down to the bottom so I can get every morsel of water, refreshment. There's a little rubber tip on the edge of my straw so I don't hurt my mouth. I have a very sensitive mouth, folks. Very sensitive indeed. Are there any specific chatters that you missed in the stream? Let's think. Do you guys remember McGillicuddy? Oh man, he was... or she, who knows? Yes, she was incredibly racist, but man, she really lit up the room when she came in. Every time. Super supportive of everyone. And funny, too. Please make a voice impression of Kermit the Frog from Omegle. Kermit the Frog here. Can you bend over with your ass out and your panties pulled to the side at a 34.5-degree angle, showing your toes with your face in frame, slightly tilted? Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Okay, next. Then Miss Piggy comes in. Kermit, what are you doing? Go. Go. He's fucking gooning in the fucking room. What do I think of Bill Gates? Bill Gates, he's interesting. He's going to have a lot of problems. Remember when Trump said that? Bill Gates is going to have a lot of problems when the Epstein files come out. They're going to have a lot of problems. I won't say any further. And then, like, he's like, oh, fuck, I completely forgot about me being in, like, 95% of it. But anyways, we're moving on. Aliens. You see the aliens? There's freaking guys in space. They're little green men. They're telling me they're green men. They're telling me they're green. They're not. They're certainly not Mexican. Ever been to prison? Not yet. Did you see any mermaids when you were in Australia? Like, just, like, looking out the window of the, like, long red-eye flight. I see a mermaid! The surgeon, a man of considerable learning, though of most peculiar humor, later shared with me his belief that the quartermaster had attempted to use the lancet to fashion gills into his flesh, as if he desired to breathe the sea itself. Oh, wow. As if he desired to breathe the sea itself. Following the quartermaster... Okay, wait, I feel like I completely missed that part. Whatever happened to that little cruise ship virus? I don't know. Some people were saying that the reason that the Hanta virus like dominated the news for like a month or whatever was because there was like something else that happened on like a Disney cruise that was like very not good, like publicity for Disney, that maybe they like, I don't know, paid money to, I'm just saying, hypothetically, allegedly, maybe potentially influence the news media to deter attention away from what happened with their cruises or something. Who knows? The surgeon, a man of considerable learning, though of most peculiar humor, later shared with me his belief that the quartermaster had attempted to use the lancet to fashion gills into his flesh, as if he desired to breathe the sea itself. Following the quartermaster's funeral, and in spite of all our attempts to prevent it, the mysterious malady spread like wildfire. Strong-headed sailors who faced storm winds, sickness, and Spanish broadsides without flinching began to bend, then break. They complained first of fever, then a ringing in the ears, then of visions and voices calling to them from the water, and then one by one they threw themselves overboard and disappeared into the inky blackness below. Some leapt from the deck. I feel like that was way too loud. Some leapt from the deck. Some leapt. I can't read. Kind of sucks because I might have to stop after this story, but we still have like a lot left. How many fucking words was this? This was like a decent amount. What's up, Electric? How we doing? The movie Obsession is literally just like dating a Latinx. See how it was so, yeah. What if like she wasn't possessed, she was just Latina? Which actually she is Latina, which is actually really fucking funny. Because I saw like someone asked her in like an interview like what movie series she wants to be or something in. I think it was Sinners. Like they want to do like further movies with like the Sinners universe or something. And because she's like half white, half Latina, she like wants to be in them because of diversity or something. That's literally what she said. She like didn't give any like desire to be in it other than the fact that she would bring further diversity to the cast. And I was like, that's, I mean, do you have any interest in the story or like, I mean, she is an incredible actress. Let's just get that out of the way. But then the fact that she like said that she was Latina, I'm like, oh, okay, so she wasn't possessed at all. This is just what it's like. Yeah, I'm actually dating the girl from Obsession.
She's really cool. She likes Optimus Prime and video games.
Some leapt from the deck, others from the rigging. Others from the rigging with terrible cry. Oh, I see. Leaping from the rigging. Be honest, if they wouldn't chew through a door to be with you, what's even the point? It is a good. Like, if they're not lying that their dad has cancer to get me to sleep over, like, what? Do you even care? Some leapt from the deck, others from the rigging with terrible cries of excited joy. And despite all efforts to keep watch and confine those showing signs of distemper, we lost 7 souls in just 2 days. After much cognation.
After much cognation. Cogitation.
What is cogitation? Guys, we're learning. Sam writing stories help us learn. Cogitation, Cogitation, the action of thinking deeply about something, contemplation.
Oh, I'm cogitating. I'm cogitating. They say I'm an overthinker. I'm just a cogitator.
What's up, Alyssa? Still, though, I think she was possessed in the movie because the real girl was talking to the main character. And well, yeah, I mean, obviously, right? It was like he snapped that thing, and then there's some sort of like entity entered her, and et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like, you know, spoiler, I'm going to talk about obsession a little bit here. And I will, yeah, that was her, her other half coming out like, kill me, kill me. Her depressed emo white side. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, actually. What if the director was like that fucking... Because he's actually a really funny comedian. What if he casted her specifically for... Oh my god, that'd be so fucking funny. I mean, his name is Curry Chicken. Like, he's gotta be a funny guy, right? Oh, you muted me. I'm sorry. I don't want to spoil anything. But let me just say that there was a lot of interpretations of obsession that I felt like they were thinking not that they weren't thinking, not that they were thinking too deeply, but I felt like, I'm like, guys, this movie is not that fucking deep. Like, it's a movie. It's definitively a movie about being possessed by some made-up shit you get from Hot Topic or whatever. But I mean, like, the fact that they were... I mean, I'll talk more about it in my review on the $10 Patreon. It's $10. Cogitation. Wait, how do I say this? Cogitation. Yeah, cogitation is just thinking deeply. All right. She got possessed by the cat. Maybe. Also, can I just say something real quick about the cat death that makes no fucking sense? How the fuck does your cat, quote unquote, get into your grandma's pills? Like, what? Dude, I've tried to feed Pradeep chicken fingers. He doesn't give a fuck. I've tried to feed Pradeep a French fry. He doesn't give a shit. The only thing Pradeep wants to eat is his disgusting little kiblets and like the same exact duck and chicken wet food that he's had every day for the last 10,000 days. And somehow a cat's just like, ooh, psych medication. Like, what the fuck? Oh, I had too much. Oh, too much fucking Paxil. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? When in any scenario has a cat ever, in the history of... Yeah, the cat had depression. He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here before he starts dating a Latinx. Get the Narcan. Yeah, like, what scenario is a cat getting into the... It was, like, in the medicine cabinet, too. So somehow, like, I vaguely recall it being in the medicine cabinet. Shit, like, was falling out of there. Like, the cat was, like, pawing at it. Like, let me have some of this. Those little white pills that I have to, like, somehow undo the cap. I don't know, bro. It's child-proof caps, but not kitty-proof. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of those psych medication caps are perfect for little kitty paws to twist and turn. And they taste delicious. They taste just like a quail egg. A white powdery fucking pill tastes exactly like kibble in bits. Apparently some old people keep the cap loose because their old decrepit fingers can't... No, that would make sense of that. But I mean, like, the only thing I could see if it fell out, a cat would walk up to it and just be like, give it like 2 sniffs, like, and then maybe do the cat thing where they go, ugh! Pradeep never does that, thankfully. But then Pradeep would just give it 2 sniffs and then just immediately run away. After much cogitation, the surgeon suspected an affliction known as calentura. Oh my gosh. Calentura. Cogitation, calentura, penis weenus. Calentura. After much cogitation, the surgeon suspected an affliction known as calentura, among the Spanish was to... Oh my god. After much cogitation, the surgeon suspected an affliction known as calentura among the Spanish was to blame. He described it as a malignant fever of the mind brought on by the foul airs of the recent fog, or perhaps some poison of the sea itself. Neither bleeding, nor purging, nor grog mixed with gunpowder protected against it, and the strongest heads fell as readily as the weak, and within a matter of mere days, the Orestes had been transformed from a force to be reckoned with into a floating asylum. Every man eyed his fellow tars with suspicion, as many a brave fellow confessed that he too heard voices after sundown, calling to him from the deep with promises of peace eternal beneath the waves. Yet my own ears heard not, as if I myself was deaf to the siren song of the deep. Shortly after 8 bells one night, while the ship lay becalmed under a moonless sky, the watch heard the sound of men clambering up the ship's port side ladder. I was going to say gibbous moon, but moonless skies, yeah. Calentura. Oh, well. You heard bush is literally a hot trend right now. I think they just call that being lazy. Honestly, I feel like we have bush for a reason. It's to protect us from the evils of the outside world. I have a black cat who has cat dementia now. She found a sweetheart after years of being a little devil. She's the queen of the house. Oh, that's cute. She needs her pills. Remember when my orange tabby got neutered? He was so lovey-dovey with me when recovering. Oh, yeah. Shortly after 8 bells one night, while the ship lay becalmed under a moonless sky, the watch heard the sound of men clambering up the ship's portside ladder. Yet he knew it in an instant from the dreadful sounds they made that these were no mere men. After watch beat to quarters, we came rushing up into the night air to see it drag itself onto the deck, and a dreadful chorus of gargling anguish and a great slithering of sodden, bloated flesh. At first, we thought it some hideous, hitherto unknown sea creature, and perhaps even the source of our torment. Yet upon one of the beasts' Why did this take so long to read? I swear, like 4,000, not that long, but it took me 3 hours plus to read one fucking story. I guess I was kind of goombing and gabbing. Ichthyek. Fish-like. That's kind of awesome. Look at this word, guys. Ichthyek. It means to be fish-like. The next time you turn down somebody, I want you to tell them, why don't you like them? You say, they're rather ichthyek. Have you seen Backrooms? I did see Backrooms, yeah. That's like something you're going to need to know in a spelling bee. 100%. He had a very ichthyek bush. A very fish-like bush. The bush looked very fishy. Did I like the Backrooms? I like the first half of the Backrooms. And that's all I'll say. Yet upon one of the beast's ichthyek appendages, I recognized a tattoo that had belonged to the quartermaster. Another man, with a shriek of terror, recognized one of the creature's many snarling heads as that of little Johnny Gibbons, the powder monkey who'd thrown himself overboard. While trapped in between folds of foetid flesh, these big-ass vocabulary terms from a New Yorker. Hey, you're looking pretty ichthyek out here, buddy. Don't fuck with me with that foetid flesh. You look like you got calentura.
You look like you got something coming from those trepidish waters. And that spooky fucking fog. Okay, what is this foetid? Foetid bloat drone. Oh, fetid. You're looking pretty fucking foetid. Hey, Sam, welcome back for 1 year. 1 year in the back rooms. Woo, where's my hug at? Where my hug at? Kisses for you and Pradeep. You almost beat A Boys. Love you. Thank you, Sam. Love you too. Happy 1 year. Hey, a New Yorker on the boat. Hey, what the fuck is that? Terrace beyond imagination. Fuck, dude. Okay. Ichthytic fetid. I got a fetish for fetid flesh. While trapped in between folds of fetid flesh, the clothing of the souls lost to the Kalantura could be seen. What beset us that night was an unholy fusion of flesh, grotesquely braided together to form a writhing, many-limbed horror which left a trail of black ichor upon the deck. The ship erupted into chaos. The thing moved with unnatural speed despite its size, gnashing its teeth and lashing out with its many arms. It seized the loblolly boy. Hey, loblolly boy. Guys, look at this word. Guys, look at this word. They're just making shit up at this point. Fucking loblolly. Loblolly. That's gonna be the name of the bar that I start. It's called Loblolly Boy. That's gonna be my gay bar, Loblolly Boys. A pine tree of the southern U.S. that's very long, slender needles and is an important source of timber. Wait, Loblolly Boy. Wait, what is it? What is a Loblolly Boy? A loblolly boy was a historical and informal name for an assistant to a ship's surgeon aboard British and American warships during the 18th and 19th centuries. They were responsible for feeding, cleaning, and caring for sick or wounded sailors. The names come from loblolly, a thick, bubbly gruel that these assistants served to recovering patients. Oi, loblolly boy, over here. I'm fucking hungry, mate. Okay. Oh, shit. Loblolly boy. Alright, Pradeep is taking a shit in his box. I don't know, but I had a bunny accidentally get in the corner bag of Coke. What's the purpose of the story? Just to find the weirdest words and put them together? It's kind of like written in the fashion of like a H.P. Lovecraft, novella. And you ever read H.P. Lovecraft, and it's kind of like, from what Sam says, H.P. Lovecraft is written not how they would necessarily have talked or written during the 1920s or 1910s, but how they would have talked in like the maybe 1700s or something like that. So it's almost like it's hearkening back to something long lost. H.P. Lovebush, holy shit. What do I think of the Call of Cthulhu? What do I think? It takes a long time to get to Cthulhu. They should make a Zelda-esque game about the Call of Cthulhu. Okay. It seized the loblolly boy, tore him in half with a single wrench, then scattered his entrails across the planks. Another man had his skull dashed against the main mast with such force that it burst like a rotten egg. I saw O'Doherty, the gunner, run the abomination through with a boarding pike, only for it to pull him close and bite away his head and shoulders as its many jaws worked in horrid concert. What was left of the crew fought with a furious desperation. Cutlasses hacked the flailing extremities, which spurted more of that inky black ichor when cut. Yet more boarding pikes were driven deep into its central mass, but still it advanced, crushing two number. Oh my god, Pradeep, fucking take your shit already. Just digging around and they're looking for treasure. Like he's aboard the SS Orestes. He's a poop pirate. Judith, welcome back for 71 months. Good morning, Buttersocks, and good morning, Joel. Love from the Netherlands. It's been a while. It has, Judith. Thank you so much for 71 months. You might have the most months in a row. You're just in time for some bonus content, though. Hope you're well tonight. What's your favorite sport? What's your favorite team in that sport? I like American football, and I think they're all pretty cool. Do you know there's a cat aboard a ship, and his name was Mrs. Chippy because she followed the carpenter around? That's cute. It seems like cats always choose one person to love. Why am I so avoidant when answering that question? Which question is that? Joel, why don't you tell us your address? Oh, for football, yeah. Well, because I don't want you guys to hate me if I tell you my favorite team. If I tell you guys my favorite team, football fans in here will be like, you fucker, I'll kill you. Yet more boarding spikes were driven deep into its central mass, but still it advanced, crushing 2 more of number between its bulk and ripping the throat from the screaming gunner's mate. Within minutes, the deck ran red with blood. The captain himself fought like a man possessed, discharging both pistols into one of the beast's heads before it seized and hurled him into the sea. It was a near-run thing, but alas we pinned the writhing mass to the deck with pikes before a gun crew tore it asunder with a 4-pounder ball at point-blank range. The shot tore a great ragged hole through the patchwork of fused flesh, spraying gore and shattered bones. Oh my god, he's still not done shitting. Holy fuck. Why are you pooping so much? Stop pooping. Sorry for putting you on the spotlight. I didn't mean to dox your state. Apologize. Oh, that's alright. People know what state I'm in. China. I'm in China. I'm the most Chinese person in this chat. The most Chinese. A lot of you don't support Xing Jinping, but I do. I probably like Chinese food the most. I use sticks to eat. I really, really enjoy orange chicken. Orange chicken's really good. I go to Panda Express all the time. Do you believe in law of attraction? I'm not really familiar with it. They call me Jolshin Chen. Jolshin Chen. Oh, fuck. Personally, when COVID happened, I actually welded myself into my hotel room. Didn't want to spread it. Didn't want to spread it at all. I wanted to just be entombed, waiting to die because of a cough. You believe in evacuating your bowels. Hold it. I say hold it till the next moon. Her boyfriend's name is Leighton, and so he's evil when he says we have to Leighton. What are you talking about? Pradeep says okay, done. Just imagining someone like quickly switching over to their Pradeep account to comment on poop. Dude, why? What is he doing? Why would it take this long to dig around in your shitbox, man? The shot tore a great ragged hole through the patchwork of fused flesh, spraying gore and shattered bone across the deck. Then, with a final collective shriek from its many hideous mouths, the abomination collapsed and lay still, leaking that sickly black ichor into the scuppers. At dawn, first light revealed not a sloop, but a charnel house. 12 more of our company lay dead or dying amid the wreckage of the thing we had destroyed. The decks were slick with blood and seawater, littered with severed limbs that still twitched. while the air stank of death and the sea's corruption.
You're making him nervous. I know. It's probably because I got a camera right on him. Hey, sweet toxin uwu, what's going on? I don't know. I have Pradeep's water going, and he does drink from toilets from time to time, which I find pretty, honestly, reassuring. Oh, he just went between my legs randomly. Yeah, what if, like, when he digs in there, it does go, he's like bringing up some sort of brontosaurus bone. Look what I found.
The decks were slick with blood and seawater, littered with severed limbs that still twitched, while the air stank of death and the sea's corruption. We stood numb amidst the slaughter, counting our losses, when suddenly a great disturbance roiled the water off the port side, the waves boiling and churning as though the ocean floor was rising to the surface. All hands rushed to the rail with weapons ready, expecting another round of battle, but as it broke the surface and rose high into the air, we knew all hope was lost. A vast, rocky, barnacle-encrusted mass surged upward, the size of an island, black as coal dust and dripping with seaweed. It rose higher and higher until its peak towered far above our main mast, dwarfing our vessel in its unnatural shadow. For a moment, we believed some subnautical mountain had been thrust up by an earthquake, and then with a slow, ponderous motion, an eye the size of a New Street warehouse blinked open. It was huge, dark and glassy, with a glowing ring of sickly green effulgence. Okay, listen, need you more with the two says. Hold it, man. Hold your arseholes tight. Hold her. Hold her. Thank you, bro. That's what I'd be screaming on the toilet. Effulgence. Guys, we got a new word. New word unlocked. Effulgence. This is for the spelling bee that will happen later. Effulgence is a noun that means a radiant, shining brightness or brilliant splendor. Joe Cat gets up and does the dishes when he's reading stories. I hope so, bro. Oh, it does sound like flatulence a little bit. Good point, good point. Okay. It was huge, dark and glassy, with a glowing ring of sickly green effulgence encircling a vast pupil, shot through with pulsing black veins. The eye regarded us with an icy... Wait, what is Chthonian? What does that even mean? I feel like, is that okay to be used in this context? Chthonian. What is Chthonian? Guys, check out this word. Concerning belonging to or inhabiting the underworld. Oh, that's why he's Cthulhu. He's from the underworld. Cthulhu. Chthonian. Just say it with the back of my throat. The eye regarded us with an icy Chthonian. The eye regarded us with an icy Chthonian indifference as the creature cruised alongside us for a terrible minute. Then a colossal, webbed claw, each talon thicker than our main mass, rose dripping from the sea. It hung for a heartbeat above us before descending apace and with cataclysmic It hung for a heartbeat above us before descending apace and with cataclysmic force. The impact was instantaneous and total, as timber screamed and shattered as kindling. I feel like if something was this large next to you, I feel like your ship would flip or just be totally incapable of even telling what's happening from how much water is splashing around and shit. Flip that ship. The impact was instantaneous and total. As timber screamed and shattered as kindling, the deck buckled beneath our feet, and I was cast against the binnacle. Oh my god, bro. Alright, I'm gonna have to stop after this one. I just fucking, obviously it's too late, and how the fuck have we been going for almost 4 hours? Binnacle. Guys, new word unlocked. Binnacle. Look it up, folks. Binnacle is a waist-high case or stand on the deck of a ship that houses and protects the primary navigational compass. Oh, interesting. As timbers screamed and shattered as kindling, the deck buckled beneath our feet, and I was cast against the binnacle as the ship was torn apart. As the sea rushed in with an almighty roar, our masts toppled while men were knocked overboard as the cannons broke loose. The Orestes died with a great rending groan, broken in two, then dragged under by that colossal claw. I awoke, half drowned upon a desolate quay, with aching body and a skull splitting with pain. And for weeks, I lived like a wild man upon that barren island, eating crabs and seabirds' eggs and drinking rainwater from hollowed palms. How I survived the wreck I cannot say, yet my survival was by no means assured, as over the coming day I fought a near ceaseless battle against a madness that sought dearly to claim me. Day after day I thought only of the beast rising from the surf, while night after night I saw the great green ringed eye in my dreams. I often awoke screaming and clawing at my own throat, and yet somehow I endured. I have since wondered whether the metal plate set in my skull, a keepsake from the failed blockade of Portobello, somehow shielded me from the beast's influence, holding its dark will as steel holds heat. In the 5th week of my exile, a British whaling ship spied the smoke from my campfire, and after sending out a rowboat, rescued me from that barren island. I gave my name a Charlie. Chris Pratt. Chris Shat. That barren island. In the 5th week of my exile, a British whaling ship spied the smoke from my campfire, and after sending out a rowboat, rescued me from that cursed island. I gave my name as Charlie Ferris, a chandler from New York, and served honestly among them for the remainder of the voyage. Under that alias, I worked my way northward until the spring of 1732, when I was set ashore in Boston, and subject to your discretion, there I'll remain. Yet while my account is a confession, I might one day yet receive the King's justice. Yet while my account is a confession, and I might one day yet receive the King's justice, I seek not forgiveness. I wish only to offer forewarning. For there are things far older and far more terrible than any pirate, and some prizes ought never be pursued. Damn. I can't believe that took so long, bro. Son of a gun, son of a bitch, and son of a gun too. How many words is this? That's, yeah. How many words was this one? Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Boy. Oh boy, oh boy. We technically have 2 more stories left in this, like, these Miskatonic tales. I like the vocabulary. Some people just naturally have a larger vocabulary. Well, we have to, like, see it from the perspective, right? From the context in which the story is written. It's written in the style, once again, of H.P. Lovecraft, and it takes place in the year, like, the 1700s, I think it was, or 1800s. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get people talking and communicating differently, and yeah, so. Alright, guys. I feel bad, but anyways, tomorrow there's going to be, obviously, your typical compilation once a month, remastering of stories, making it sound nice and pretty. Promo the podcast. Go check that out. Let's Read Podcast. You can listen to it anywhere you listen to podcasts. But I will hopefully get these bonus content stories done. My hope is by at least Wednesday of this week for sure. I won't be streaming the rest of them, but you can, be sure to, if you got a membership tonight, check that out, or if you follow over on Patreon for that. And yeah. Anyways, love you guys, appreciate you. Follow me on Instagram at letsread.official to be kept up to date when I go live on my story over there, my Instagram story. And then, new video really helps if you watch it right when it comes out, and I'll keep you posted when the bonus content goes up as well. But guys, thanks for hanging out with me. This was fun. Wish I could do all of them. I honestly would have back in my olden days, but I gotta do shit tomorrow, so I gotta go to bed. But are you paying your friends for the podcast? I asked them if I was saying the money could go to them, but they're like, no, they just wanted to do it for fun. So maybe one day they might ask me for money or something if it continues to grow. But as of right now, we can actually see how many people are over, how many people have joined that podcast tier over on, because there's 3 tiers. $1 tiers early access, $5 tiers bonus content, which is what we did tonight, and then $10 tier for the movie review podcast we started. Let's see, 9 members. That's pretty solid. I'd say that's pretty solid so far. I mean, if we can get that up there, have it be fun, and then we'll get our newest episode of that recorded hopefully this coming weekend, and be able to review Obsession. Anyways, love you guys, appreciate you, thank you. And I will never tell you guys the secret to my 7 herbs and spices. Okay, goodbye.